Live. All right, my friends. We are pressing the Let's Go Live button over here on our end. It's debate night, baby. We cannot wait to get into this. There is so much cooking right now. Very grateful that you're here and joining us. So many people are excited about tonight. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. We have our best guesses out there, but it is the time for this to happen. And we're very excited here. You can see we got to change the scenery in the background. This is Trump Hotel. So if it already hasn't happened, the pixels are going to be glistening as they emerge through Trump Hotel, through the best web servers in all of Las Vegas, directly to your screens. The best pixels. And I don't know, I think I might even have a little bit of a MAGA glow going on right now. Do I look a little extra orange here today on the video? How's the hair? Is the hair growing out a little bit different than normal? It's an amazing day, my friends. I feel golden. It's been a great day. We had a ton of fun at an event earlier, but we have some people coming over here to Trump Hotel for a debate night preview. And we got somebody who you might know who's actually swinging by. I do believe he's on his way right now. And so we're going to have some awesome commentary tonight. We're going to go through the debate. It's going to be a little bit thrown together because we're not in our usual setup. Lighted from the back. Yeah, I can close that up. I can definitely close that up. It does feel a little orange in here, doesn't it? I look a little orange. So we can close that up if you want. I can close this back here, and we can actually see a little bit of more of me. But, all right, I can do that. Do we want to do that? Here, I can do this. Let's see if this changes anything as we get situated here. And is that a little better? Here, let me do this side. Is that a little bit better? Yeah, close it. It's a little better. Okay, I'll close it. Let me get locals situated as well. So we get a little bit of the Vegas flavor, but we get a little bit better lighting. Is that better? All right. So we're going to have the debate coming up here in a second. Let me get locals working, and apparently that is not working for some reason right now. Well, I think I know why that is. It's because locals is down. So locals friends, this is what I'm seeing right now. Locals friends, so locals is down for whatever reason, but we'll keep that going. All right, so my friends, we've got a debate in store. Let's get over and see what's happening. Looks like Gavin Newsom is there right now. Here is the scene from Atlanta. Gavin Newsom is doing his little thing, his little, oh, what's going on? I don't know how this all works. So they're getting ready to slot him in, I think. If Joe Biden doesn't have a good debate, that's where we'll go. It will be a conversation about how to throw him out, how to do a hot swap, see if they can throw in Hillary.
You heard from the governor, as you've heard,
or some others
throughout leading up to tonight's debate. The microphones will be muted, and so they hope that that's going to cut down on interruptions. An issue discussed back in 2020, likely to come up again this evening, is the issue of abortion.
What's up, Brian C?
Back in 2020, in that
How's
debate,
the audio
following
on this?
former President
Audio
Trump's
okay?
appointment of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. Here's how the topic played out before the striking down of Roe v. Wade.
Is that the president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. And so that's also at stake right now. And so the election is all.
You don't know it's on the ballot. Why is it on the ballot?
Because
why is it on the ballot? It's not on the ballot.
Audio's
it's on
good?
the ballot in the court.
I don't think
awesome.
so.
Thank you for that.
Well,
there's nothing happening there.
Donald, would you
and
just
you don't
be quiet
know
for a
her
minute?
view on Roe v. Wade. You
I
don't know her
know.
view.
Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not
Is
here to
locals
call
back
out
up?
his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree-
want to make sure.
All right, I don't know if this is any good for Joe because he could.
last
This
night,
was
last
like
night.
3 years ago. He could actually speak back then.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know.
Yeah, that's when he
how
used to be able to
strongly you
talk.
feel.
Now he can't talk anymore.
Vote now.
gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't wanna
you're a
answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the
You wanna
question
put a lot
is
of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justices,
the
radical
question-
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is your,
up, man?
Listen, who is
All
on
right,
your
so
list,
it's
Joe?
funny they're
Who's
playing
on
all
your
this.
list?
Gentlemen, I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the
unprecedented.
court.
We have
We're not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to.
All right, so let's poke around and see what else is cooking out there. So here is what Joe Biden just posted. He said, I don't know what they've got in these performance enhancers. So he's playing the little joke thing, but I'm feeling pretty jacked up. Trouble, folks, see you in a bit. So here's Zero Malarkey, Joe Biden, Dark Brandon, Secret Sauce. Get real, Jack. It's just water. So that's from Joe Biden. That's what he's posting over there. And I think that's a little clever. They're trying to take some of the air out of the wings of the Republicans' criticism of all of his methamphetamines and whatever else he's taking. And I'm keeping an eye on the phone so that I can let people in because we're having some people come over here and join us. And somebody I think you'll know is joining us. So it's going to be fun. All right, so that's Joe Biden. Let's see what Trump is saying. He posted a bunch of stuff on True Social today in preparation for the debate. So let's poke over there and see what he is dropping literally right now. So here is the post from Trump, True Social. He just dropped this one a couple minutes ago. Here is what this looks like.
Make an entrance. Make a run. And then make history. Make a difference. Make good on your word. Make it big league. But most of all, make it great again.
Yeah, Mr. President, let's go. All right. All right, so that is from the president. Let's see what else he posted because he's got some other stuff out that he's dropped. Here is another one, 6:27. This is 1 minute and 5 seconds. Looks like Trump just got off of the airplane. And here's what that sounds like. All right, looking good, looking strong. Let's go! Hey, what's going on with Rumble? Rumble's not working? Rumble's struggling a little bit. All right, so Rumble is struggling up a little bit. Okay, that's not good. We're getting, the tubes are getting hacked to bits out there. Everybody is, the servers are overloaded. They just can't do it, Captain. They just can't do it. So, all right, that is from the president as well. That's over on True Social. Let's see what else he posted. Shared this one, Fox News Saturday Night with Jimmy Failla, Biden lies. Here's another one from Trump. He posted this. It says, Mr. President, I am sure that a climate question will come up during your debate this week, and I suggest the following talking points. So this is funny. So Trump is actually now posting his debate talking prep. He's posting that out there on the interwebs. So here's what he posted. He says, Mr. President, I'm sure a climate debate will come up. He says, under my administration, CO2 emissions went down. At the same time, we became more American energy dominant, which helps Americans at the gas pump and with their electricity bills. Says we can do both. Biden just increased the energy cost for everyone. Biden also rejoined the Paris Climate Accord. All that does is send American dollars overseas to benefit other countries like China. Because of Biden's climate and tariff policies, everyone is buying Chinese solar panels instead of American energy. So Trump says, under my administration, this is a talking point, maybe we'll hear it tonight, we will continue to reduce CO2 and focus on American-made energy. And if you get pushback during rebuttal, Mr. President, you'll need another point. Say this. Say Joe Biden is shutting down U.S. energy, canceling pipelines, stopping federal leases. We still need the energy. That means we are importing more energy from countries that aren't our friends. When you transport gas halfway around the world, it means more CO2 emissions. So that is also from the president. Now we're testing to see if Rumble's working. We're testing to see if Locals is working. And as far as I can see, they are both down. Are they both down? Yikes. Okay, is our connection bad? We got the highest internet server here as well. So hopefully it's good. Audio's good. Mic volume's low. All right, let me turn the mic volume up. I'm sure I can do that somehow. Let me see here with my settings. So audio, mic volume. Let me boost that up. How is this sound? Or let me do this. Let me try this. How is this? Is this any better? So I just adjusted the audio. Rumble's down. Looks like Locals is down. Rumble chat is frozen. Twitch is up. We're on Twitch right now. And we're also on X right now. So Locals is down. That's crazy. All right. Well, we're keeping our eye on the debate. So here is the scene. Here's what C-SPAN is showing, or this is what CNN is showing us, really. So we're just waiting for it to get started here. We've got about 16 minutes. Trying to figure out some of the tech. Yeah, what is going on here? So Twitch is up. We are on Twitch. Rumbles is working, but I can't submit. Higher on the volume? Oh my goodness. All right, now let's try it. Let's try it. Let's go higher. We're gonna do this. We're gonna boost that all the way up to like we're at 175, Captain, right now. We're at 175. How we doing? 175 on the audio. And the volume on your mic was low, but it's good now. All right, hopefully better now. My mom just sent me a text message. My mom sent me a text. Here's what my mom said. Mama G. Those of you coming to Vegas, you're going to meet her on Saturday. She said, "You're still too orange. Can you put nightstand lights in front of you? Can you put nightstand lights in front of you?" And of course, Mama's always looking out. But we've already done that, Mama. See, let me show you. This is what we've got right there. And what's up? Is that Steven? We're getting ready for this debate. I think somebody just got here. So we're going to see if we can get this stuff figured out. I guess I could turn that off and see if that helps. Hang on. Is that less orange? I mean, it's less orange, but I don't know if it's any better. All right, so we're waiting for this puppy to start. Who is joining us? Audio's great, awesome. So 5x5, good. So we're up. We boosted up the volume a bit. We could totally just get rid of all the curtains too. I could get rid of all the curtains. We could actually close the deep curtains in the back. The shadow, okay. Your backlight's a little too powerful for your fill. I know, I was trying to get the Vegas vibe, all right? Didn't work out to my my liking. But yes, okay, I can do that. Let me close the curtains and we'll just make this better looking. So give me 1 second. Here's the debate. Let me turn the volume up on this.
15 minutes away from this year's first presidential debate hosted by CNN, simulcasted here on the C-SPAN network. So you're looking at a live picture of the spin room where the supporters for the candidates will go and talk to the media following the debate. Here at our studios at C-SPAN, joining us is Peter Luge. He is at the George Washington University School of Media and Public Affairs. He's their chair there to talk about the history of debates. Thank you for being here.
Thanks very much for the invitation.
The very first televised presidential debate was in 1960, as our viewers know, between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon.
How's that better?
Debate
looking less orange?
Campaigns?
Well, debating became part of the norm, right? It became part of the television era where campaigns came to us in our living room. We didn't have to go to a hall or a field to watch a debate or see the candidates. They came to our house. And since then, it's been part of the tradition of American politics that every couple of years, we're joined in our living room by candidates for president, Senate, the House.
I
mayor,
wanted
whatever.
to get some of the Vegas vibe, but we'll do that later.
make
We'll
the
save it
best
for the
case
nighttime.
There was no
once the sun
audience
goes
then.
down.
There's no audience tonight. How does that impact the outcome of this debate?
I'm not sure it impacts the outcome of the debate. It might impact how the debaters respond, right? I mean, comparing 1960 to 2024 is a bit of a stretch, right? There's no audience, but a lot else has changed as well. I think you have to look at the candidates. Donald Trump feeds off a crowd. He likes a big audience. He likes the feedback. President Biden is better in a smaller setting. He's better in one-on-one. That's how he spent his career. I think a lack of a formal audience will probably help President Biden because it's a venue he's used to. And I'm not sure that it's one that will benefit Trump because, again, he likes the energy and he feeds off the energy. That just won't be there. Another
difference will be the microphones are going to be muted when one candidate has the floor.
Okay, we're aware of that. So let's come back on that because we'll let them continue to talk. I've got a couple of other updates that I wanted to share. First of all, I thought this was a fun post from our friend ALX. What's up, ALX? He's out there on X. He says, here's debate night in America. Here's Joe Biden being propped up by the media. Even Fox News is in there. Look at that. Look at that. So Fox News Channel, CBS News, NBC, NPR, ABC, MSNBC, all in the house and propping up the president. We've got my mom just said, Orange man good. Orange man good. Love you, Mama. All right. So Mama's watching. And cool. Steven's here. All right. Yeah. Well, it's cool. Right on. So amazing. Okay. So let me see. Okay. So we've got that post. Now, this is also something that's strange. I saw this. So today, the White House Correspondents meeting was sending a letter to CNN. They posted this one. They're a little irritated. The White House Correspondents Association, of course, a conglomerate of all of the media companies, they put out this statement this morning. They said, here's the statement. For weeks, the White House Correspondents Association has advocated for the inclusion of our White House travel pool inside the studio for the presidential debate. Our work has included outreach to the White House, the campaigns of both President Biden and former President Trump, and the debate host network CNN. Now, we appreciate that CNN is providing a television feed of the debate to other networks and will grant access to still photographers from various news outlets that cover the candidates inside the studio. Those are positive actions, like we're happy we get some photos. However, the White House Correspondents Association is deeply concerned that CNN has rejected our repeated requests to include the White House travel pool inside the studio. Can we have people come in there and just watch? Through conversations and advocacy, we urge CNN to grant access to at least one print pool reporter for the duration of the debate. Can we just have one person, just one, sit in there? No. White House Correspondents Association has been informed that one print reporter will be permitted. Come on in, brother. Come on in, my friends. So, my friends, we have a very special guest here joining us today at Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. It is the one and only. Let me grab a seat.
Yes.
Mr. Stephen Gardner. You know who he is over here in the house. And so we met up at an event just this afternoon. Let's see. So we're live here. Stephen Gardner. And it's great to see you, my man.
Yes.
Thanks for coming by.
Yes, I'm
really
happy
great to
to be
see you.
here.
It's like such a surprise. We were having this conversation. We bumped into each other at an event. And I was like, what are you doing for the debate? I said, we're here. We're going to watch it. So we're here at Trump Hotel, and he's now over here joining us. And so super excited to have you here. I was just reading this statement from the White House Correspondents Association. Did you see this one?
Briefly.
All right, so I'll read it, and then we'll get some commentary on it. But so they said, okay, the White House Correspondents Association is deeply concerned that CNN has rejected our repeated requests. Here, let's put this back on. Our repeated requests to include the White House travel pool. Through conversations and advocacy, we urge CNN to grant access to at least one print pool reporter for the duration. Now, the White House Correspondents Association has been informed that one print reporter will be permitted to enter the studio during a commercial break. That's it. Only during the commercial, to briefly observe the setting. So nobody's going to be in there to watch it. Only the CNN people. Says that is not sufficient in our view, diminishes a core principle of presidential coverage. The White House pool has a duty to document, report, and witness the president's events and his movements on behalf of the American people. And this is what they say. The pool is there for what ifs in a world where the unexpected does happen. A pool reporter is present to provide context and insight by direct observation and not through the lens of the television production. A pool reporter is an independent observer whose duties are separate. The pool reporter works on behalf of the press corps, print pools, all the things. The Biden campaign told us that they support our request. So Biden says, okay. The Trump campaign told White House it would not oppose the inclusion of a White House pool reporter. The Trump campaign has sent a separate press corps. Tonight's debate will have no audience present and includes format rules that silence their microphones. We don't know how this will play out in real time. A pool reporter is there to observe what is done when the microphones are off and when either candidate is not seen on camera but may speak, gesture, move, or engage in some way. And so we're not going to be able to see any of that. And the White House believes this is an important thing. CNN's a good citizen of our association. We respectfully request you adjust your plan. Let us have somebody in there so we can actually report on what's going on. So Kelly O'Donnell, president of the White House Correspondents Association, sent that out. And I guess it's just going to be CNN's game. That's all we've got. CNN.
It feels like a rigged system that's getting more and more rigged.
It does.
Yeah. So nobody's allowed to be in there. Biden gets to take breaks. Trump can't rebut him without Jake Tapper's permission, without Dana Bash's permission. This whole thing is just so rigged.
It does feel absolutely rigged. And I guess one question that I have gotten a lot of is, why do you think Trump agreed to it? Why do you think that we're in the middle of this if it does feel one-sided?
Well, you could say, okay, maybe he walked himself into a trap. That's one angle that you could take. The one that I choose to believe is he's going to New Jersey. He's going to the Bronx. He's going to Los Angeles. He's going to go to Chicago. This is a man that is willing to go wherever he has to go for the American people, and Biden is not.
Right.
And so even though he is walking into, and obviously, the deck is stacked against him, he's willing to do it because he's going to be going up against people like Vladimir Putin. He's going to be going up against China, other parts of the Middle East, whatever it is. So he's literally, from my view, just telling the American people, I will go wherever I have to go on your behalf. And Biden is not willing to do that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's such a good point. And by the way, my friends, this is Stephen Gardner. If you've not met him, he is on YouTube. He is right next door on YouTube, and he's got an awesome channel, talks a lot about the same stuff that we talk about, and we're really grateful to have him here today just to give us some insight, some thoughts on this. But I completely agree. My analogy on the show has been that he's like Batman, in the final movie, or he's like Luke Skywalker in the final Return of the Jedi. It's like him versus the Death Star, and he's just going in to get the job done. Now, the other thing I thought was interesting was you brought up Vladimir Putin and how Trump is willing, he's willing to go where the people are, talk to the people, go where the energy is, and fight on behalf of America. We just saw Joe Biden spend like 7 days, I think, in his little recovery chamber just to prepare for a debate, just to come out and have a presidential debate. So I guess my question is, not even for you, but for everybody, it's like, does he need that amount of time to prepare for actually meeting with world leaders, for foreign leaders? Because we don't see him take that amount of time. And so if he's not taking that amount of time, then is he showing up even competent to these things? Because it's pretty clear he needs time, a lot of time, to even prepare for what is a pretty simple debate. Trump's out there campaigning, and he's able to just kind of show up.
Yeah, so I've read so many different things. This could be them trying to acclimate him to staying up later, because he usually goes to bed at around 9 o'clock. The debate starts at 9 o'clock Eastern.
Right.
So they've got to get him used, almost like forcing him out of jet lag, right? I've also heard that they're having to dial in the different drug cocktail that they're going to give him. What I would like to see is between now and Saturday, thousands of videos of Joe Biden on a regular day and then all hopped up.
Right.
Because it was so obvious during the State of the Union that this man was on something. He was screaming, he was angry, he was just full of piss and vinegar, as they say. He's not usually like that. Usually he's very much struggling to have the energy necessary in order to even run the country. So I think that they were probably dialing in his meds, getting him lots of rest. I mean, he could have been on oxygen treatment. He could have been on IV treatment. He could have been in a hyperbaric chamber. There's so many different medical things that they could have been doing to him. And the fact that that he is refusing to do a drug test, if he comes out with too much energy, we will know that the President of the United States is on drugs.
Right. And he has to be, basically, in order to perform. They have to redline him in order to just do a debate. So, you know, we read back through the history books and we remember the negotiations between Kennedy and the Russians, and like these very long, in-depth ordeals that the president needs to be capable of doing. And if it takes 7 days to get ready for a debate, I think that means we should have somebody a little bit more competent in there. So, okay, so we've got 2 minutes, then it's showtime. And any thoughts before it begins? Any predictions, takeaways?
Well, the one thing that I did read is, and Trump is fairly good with feedback, is they had him go back and watch the previous debate where he came out too strong.
Yeah.
He was too alpha male. I mean, it's exactly what you would want in a leader, but it almost looked like elder abuse because he had so much more vitality than Joe Biden. So my understanding is they are planning to dial that back. They want him to look more presidential, more calm, a little bit more clear in his answers. So I think it's going to be a great debate. I was sad to see that the Logan Paul, Mike Tyson fight was off, but I guess this is what we're going to get, right?
That's off? Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so this is
the
the big fight of the year now.
That's right. Well, we're excited to get into it. So we'll see what C-SPAN has pulled for us, and we'll cue this one up here. Did you want to hang here and watch it here, or do you want to?
Yeah, I'm happy to do whatever you want.
Okay, you might be more comfortable.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can debrief as soon as it's over.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
we'll hang out there.
Okay.
So my friend Stephen Gardner is swinging by. We got a bunch of food coming. We're gonna party like it's a debate night. And so my friend, thanks for stopping by on here. We'll come back. We'll check back in with Stephen once the debate is here. But make sure you subscribe to his channel, my friends, if you haven't already done that, because he's right next door on YouTube and he's got an awesome channel. And you might even notice our thumbnails look a little bit alike because he has awesome thumbnails too. But Stephen Gardner's an awesome dude, been very helpful. We're glad that our paths crossed here at Trump Hotel in Las Vegas tonight. So we're glad we got to hang out and talk with him for a bit and get his take on this. But it is time. We are here.
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground state in the race for the White House. In just moments, the current U.S. president will debate the former U.S. president as their party's presumptive nominees, a first in American history. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world to our studios in Atlanta. This is the CNN presidential debate.
This debate is being produced by CNN and is coming to you live on CNN, CNN International, CNN.com, CNN Max, and CNN Espanol. This is a pivotal moment between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in their rematch for the nation's highest office.
Let's go.
He will make his case to the American people with just over 4 months until Election Day. Good evening, I'm Dana Bash, anchor of CNN's Inside Politics and co-anchor of State of the Union.
I'm Jake Tapper, anchor of CNN's The Lead and co-anchor of State of the Union. Dana and I will co-moderate this evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the two candidates tonight. Before we introduce them, we want to share the rules of the debate with the audience at home. Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen. President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss determined their positions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up, clarification, or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on. and his opponent's microphone.
All right, it's a beautiful night, my friends. We know these
Should a
rules.
candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers.
What's
at
up,
home.
Mima? Good to see you. It's going to be ugly.
At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes, props, or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate.
Yeah, we're going to see what YouTube does, my friends. If YouTube nukes us,
and their campaigns,
check us out on X, check us out on Twitch. Okay, those two are working right now.
Please welcome
X and Twitch.
the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Nah. Womp, womp, womp. Stop wrecking our country, punk!
Great to be here. Thank you.
Wow.
And please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Yeah! Let's go, baby! Woo! All right, so we're rocking and rolling here. Trump Hotel, baby. Trump Tower, Las Vegas. Looking good, Mr.
Gentlemen,
President.
thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president.
Yikes.
What Mr. Trump left me.
Yikes.
We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right.
He didn't say that.
Collapsed. There were no jobs.
Wow.
Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build
He looks and sounds terrible.
We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now.
Wow.
In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
All right, so he made it through an answer. Sounded terrible.
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce-back jobs, a bounce-back from the COVID.
Nice.
He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you. President Biden?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks that.
No, I think most of the country does there, brother.
And, you know, the fact of the matter is that we find ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began,
COVID.
since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant. And the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that.
You dropped them off
when he was
airplanes.
president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where
Left 80
you
billion
had
over there.
a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have any, this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
Got multiple
President
wars
Trump,
under your
I
watch.
want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history.
You're welcome,
That's why
Joe.
we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing.
Democrats.
It was the worst, probably the
Democrats.
worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
Brutal.
President Trump, over the last
Hanging off
8
airplanes,
years,
13
under both
dead
of your
soldiers.
administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt.
Yeah, it was called
former
COVID,
President
Jake.
Trump, many
Look
of
at
the
him.
tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go
Rigged
even
question.
further, you
Thanks,
say.
Jake.
With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Jake, it was
The tax
COVID.
cut spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that
Dishonest
we were able to
question.
get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it.
And
More
the
people
jab.
died under
Yeah,
his
they were jabbing people up all over the
than
place.
our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did
Weird.
the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine.
Biden is so
And he
cracked
did a
out.
very
Look at his
poor
eyes.
job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become
Yes.
like a third world nation.
100%.
And it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country. And I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions
Good question.
to come into our country
Yeah.
and destroy our country.
Ask him that,
President
Jake.
Trump, we will get to immigration
Yeah,
later
sure.
in this block.
Ask him that
President
question.
Biden, I
Look at
want to
him.
give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one.
COVID.
Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America.
We do?
And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24% 25%, either one of those numbers. They'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with.
Come on.
Look.
Come on. Oh, that's it. Oh.
We finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
We finally beat Medicare?
He's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death. They're destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Cheers! Cheers, Mr. President.
This is the first presidential election
since
the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on
Hillary Clinton's warming up right now. Gavin Newsom stretching.
Emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the
abortion and
decision
deficits.
to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
What
However,
number issue is abortion?
The federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have
Top 5?
access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states.
Yeah. My bad. Sorry, guys.
So they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people.
Yeah.
Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth.
Yeah, they don't even.
If you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby.
See how their grades are in high school
What
first.
happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided.
No, they didn't.
Supported Roe.
No, they didn't.
And that's this idea that they
60
were all
years ago?
It's just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women to be raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, and brothers and sisters.
Yeah, and immigrants too, I guess. Illegal immigrants
It's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country.
It's true.
And they are raping and killing women.
It's true.
And it's a terrible thing. As far
Stories
as the
every day.
abortion's concerned,
Every day.
it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have, everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden.
Yeah, just keep beating that horse.
I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
Okay.
He can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
Yeah.
That is simply not true.
Well, say it.
Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die.
That's not
the
true.
only circumstance in which that can happen.
No, it's that
but we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion.
Yeah. So if you want
Roe
Roe back,
whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want.
No undue
burden. We don't
burden,
think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
Shouldn't be
For
killing
51 years,
babies.
that was the law.
So?
51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress?
He just told
and
you.
They pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks.
Yes,
Something very, very
go ahead, Mr.
conservative.
President.
Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it.
He's already said no.
He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border
Hey,
security.
Jake,
President Biden, a
a-hole,
record
let
number
Trump
of migrants
respond.
have
What a
illegally
piece of
crossed
crap.
the southern border on your watch.
What a piece of
Overwhelming
garbage.
border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns.
What a piece of work.
Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law
is just open the border wide.
I've changed it in a way that now
everyone can come in all the time.
A situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally.
What?
It's better than when he left office. and I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence.
Yeah, it's
I don't
hard.
think he knows what he said either. Look,
Yeah, it's true.
we had the safest border in the history of our country.
Look at Joe.
The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history.
Just talk
now
to him,
we have
Joe.
the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you,
caravans.
President Trump.
And
President Biden?
ransacking
The
New
only
York
terrorist
everywhere.
who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed three American soldiers. That's the only terrorist.
Joe's going to last 4
I'm not
more
saying
years.
that
Oh
no
my
terrorists
gosh.
ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people. That's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs,
These are
including
rigged
those
questions, man.
whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in
Everywhere.
every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days.
Yeah, 3
One
bad
of them, I
stories.
just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral.
Look at
for this
Joe's
girl,
eyes.
12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country.
That side-by-side's not a good look for him.
We're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in.
President
and it's
Biden.
a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every
got it.
single one.
Yeah,
For
got it.
example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma.
All right, mark
I
your
was
bingo
recently
cards.
in
Mark it.
In France.
Burn
for
pit, dead
D-Day,
son. Mark it.
And I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker.
Fake.
You're the sucker. You're the loser.
Whoa!
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this.
Liars.
Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers. So
they make up
apologize
everything.
To me right now.
He should.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are
Joe
their
looks
family.
really
The only
irritated.
sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home,
Angry.
and their families, and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now.
And he sounds like death.
They're doing more for veterans
Wild.
than ever before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year.
Biden's war.
Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's
true.
what you call him.
Yeah.
That we've
well,
ever
13
had.
of them
They
died in
can't stand him.
Afghanistan.
So let's get that
under his
straight.
watch. Thanks for
And
that.
they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin,
Right.
he would have never invaded Ukraine.
Joe's frozen.
A lot of people are dead
Shake
right
him.
now, much more than
Hit
people
it on the
know.
head.
You know, they
There
talk
he is.
about
He's back.
numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible, embarrassing,
go.
most embarrassing
Here we go.
moment in the history of our country. That when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned, and so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals. No general
Your mic's
got
off, Joe.
fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers. And 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens behind.
Yeah, and tons of
when
Afghanistans.
Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
Yeah, new fronts, new wars.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life.
All right, well,
the fact of the matter is that
respond.
we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president, they attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three,
Not the people hanging off the
found ourselves
airplanes,
in a
though.
situation where, if you take a look at what Trump
Not
did
the
in
dead
Ukraine,
soldiers.
This guy told Trump, do whatever you want, do whatever you want, and that's exactly what Trump did. to Putin, encourage him, do whatever
Biden just
you
keeps
want.
like
And he
making
went
up
in. Listen to what he said when he
things
went in.
people say.
He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I
as I
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine.
Acceptable. No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't
it's a
think
lot.
there's ever been anything
Our
like
money.
it. Every time that Zelensky
We
comes
don't
to
have.
this country, he walks away with $60 billion.
I know,
He's
it's
the greatest
crazy.
salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything.
Our
I'm
leaders are
only
stupid.
saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened.
Yeah.
I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly.
It's true.
I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
That's what I'm talking about, Mr.
President Biden,
President.
you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire.
Yes,
Not
I
just
know.
a piece. He wants all of Ukraine.
Yes, he's
That's
going
what
to
he
drive
wants.
the British
And then you think he'll
over
stop there?
into the
You
sea.
think he'll stop
Yes,
when
we know.
if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, and by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages.
This is a bad
Among
issue for
those
Joe.
held and
Bad.
thought to still
He
be
loses
alive are
both
5
sides.
Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional
that jaw,
leverage
that wide
will
open
you
jaw,
use
that's a bad
to get
look.
Hamas and Israel
It's a bad
to
look.
end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one,
Close your mouth.
everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through to the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas, number one. They're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened? In Israel, we're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so there are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden.
I think that answer is going to
They don't
satisfy
have to do
either
it.
side
And by the
at
way,
all.
they've been greatly weakened, Hamas.
Just angers both
greatly
sides.
weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent $100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any.
Their
They were going
continent,
out of business.
not
We were
ours.
spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian.
That's
He's a weak
true.
one.
Oh, that's great. Great
President
line.
Biden, you have
Great
a minute?
line.
I've never heard so much foolishness.
You say
This
that
is
at
guy
the
who
start of
wants to
every.
Get out of NATO. Are you going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other
Yes,
places.
we know. The French are going into the
Happens
sea.
then.
Yeah.
He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, do you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next month.
Shocking. I know.
But
Crazy.
now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's
Thank you.
bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I
good.
want to ask you about
J6.
January 6, 2021.
Good, let's go.
After you rallied your supporters that day,
shut up,
some
Jake.
of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people.
It's true.
What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him.
Let's talk that now.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying,
Joe Biden's earpiece?
No, it's my responsibility.
His
I was
earpiece is
responsible
loose.
for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down.
She
and the
did.
mayor of, in writing, by the way, the mayor,
Yes.
in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C.
Muriel Bowser.
They turned it down.
Yes, she
I
did.
offered 10,000 because I could see, I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming.
FBI
You could
wanted
feel
it.
it. You could feel it too,
Yep.
and you could feel it.
Yep.
And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. and I offered it to
Yes.
her, and she now admits that she turned it down.
This is
And
great.
it was the same day she was,
Yes.
I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said,
Yes.
I take full responsibility for January 6th.
Yes. So happy
Biden.
80 million Americans heard that. So happy.
He encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill, number one. I sat
To
in the
protest,
dining room
to
off the
peacefully
Oval
protest.
Office. He sat there for 3 hours.
Oh, come on.
3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute
By
their
a rigged
sentences
DOJ.
and say that he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing.
The court's never
And
said
these
that.
people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable.
What
And
court
wants
cases
to
is
let
he
them all
talking
out.
about?
And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Bloodbath. That's a fake
What they've
news
done
quote.
to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
You should.
What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities.
Minneapolis.
You go to Minnesota, Minneapolis.
Yeah. Yep.
What they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are
Illegal.
all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information
Yes,
they
they
found
did.
because they found out we were right.
Yes,
we
they
were
did.
right. And they deleted and destroyed
they
all
did.
of the information. They should go to jail for that.
They
If a
should go to
Republican
jail.
did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President
Thank you,
Biden, I
Mr.
wanna give you a
President.
minute.
Thank
The
you.
only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking
Oh,
at.
here we go. Here we go.
And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part. to
You
stop what was
prosecuted him,
going
Joe.
on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody, just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows.
They didn't kill anybody.
Occupied offices.
That's a
turned over
lie.
desks,
You're a liar.
turned them over statues. The idea that those people are patriots, come on.
They didn't kill
When I
anybody.
asked him the first
You're a
two
liar.
debates
Your
we
people
had, the
killed
debates
somebody.
We had first time around. I said, "Will you?"
Ashley Babbitt's
denounce the
dead
Proud
because
Boy?"
of them.
He said, "No, I'll tell them to stand by." The idea he's refusing to. Will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said
Jake,
if
you
reelected,
piece of
you
crap.
would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political
Jake is
opponents.
the
You
worst.
just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation.
Nice answer. High
My
ground.
retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important
gosh,
thing.
Trump is good,
But he
man.
could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor, having to do with the son. This man is a criminal.
Yes.
This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting.
Yes.
I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, Mr.
Biden,
President.
you have
Good
said-
answer.
I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Biden.
idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American.
You are doing that, Joe.
Is wrong.
4
It's simply
criminal
wrong.
cases.
No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that.
Joe is prosecuting him 4
Number
times.
3, the crimes that you are still charged with. And think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star?
Wow.
While your wife
Wow,
was
those are
pregnant?
low.
I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Morals of an alley cat.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it.
Yeah.
And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam, and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Yes!
President Trump, President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got
questions
a
are
whole
so rigged.
range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any president say
You're doing it, Joe.
I thought Hitler had some good ideas. What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided
this is
Iraq
fake.
Because
oh,
of Iraq.
good. This is good.
I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile.
Hopefully Trump's been briefed on this.
When
even Snopes said this was false.
And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The people the ones who got
This
killed,
is a lie. Come on,
stop
Trump,
it,
you got
and
this."
The ones he said, I think they're fine people on both sides.
Oh, total lie.
What American president
total
would
lie.
ever say?
Even Snopes
Nazis
said that was a
coming out
lie.
of fields, carrying torches, singing
Even
the same
Snopes.
anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas. We're fine people.
Lie.
This is the guy who says Hitler's done some good
Come on,
things.
Jake.
I'd like to know what they are.
Jake, are you going to let that
Good things
stand?
Hitler's done.
You
That's
punk.
what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every anchor every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
And debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president.
Never said
Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the
Wow.
CNN presidential debate.
All right, my friends. So, wow. Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about on that one. First of all, it's obvious that Snopes has already debunked that. Okay, so Snopes, let's just check that out. Fine people hoax. Even Snopes is admitting this. So here, let's see. The New Republic posted this one. Why is Snopes, here is the story, helping Trump clean up the Fine People hoax? Okay, so here's the story. From Snopes, here it is, right here, as we wait for the commercial to come out. From Snopes.com, okay, which is a liberal left site, says, no, Trump did not call neo-Nazis and white supremacists very fine people. Here's your fact check, Joe. On August 15th, here's the claim. Then President Trump called neo-Nazis and white supremacists who attended the Unite the Right rally, in Charlottesville, quote, very fine people. Okay, this is his lie. He's been making it up ever since he ran, and it's false in context. Like, and they just changed this, so this has been like partially true for a long time, I guess, but they just changed it false. In a news conference after the rally, protesting the planned removal of a Confederate statue, Trump did say that there were very fine people on both sides, but right after that, in the same statement, okay, like the next sentence, he said he wasn't talking about neo-Nazis and white nationalists. He said they should be condemned totally. Some readers have raised the objection that this fact check appears to assume that Trump was correct in stating that there were very fine people on both sides, but that's not the case. This fact check aimed to confirm what Trump actually said, not whether what he said was true or false. So even Snopes, okay, is disagreeing with the president, and he just stood up there and lied again to America. He lied again. He's been doing this for a long time, and I think he's having a rough night, my friends. I mean, I got to tell you, he sounds terrible. He looks terrible. And every one of his statements is very, very templated. He comes back out and he says, that's a bunch of malarkey. I haven't heard a bunch of lies like this. Everything he says is nonsense. And then he kind of, rambles off. But the questions have been exactly what we expected. Absolutely rigged questions from Jake Tapper. First question that I thought was rigged, that he never even gave Trump a real opportunity to respond on, was that COVID question at the beginning. Why was your deficit so high? Well, Jake, you could have mentioned, because there was a pandemic there, like the American people probably remember that, but you could have given some context of the question. He just brought out the numbers. Trump, you spent $10 trillion and you spent $4 trillion, Mr. Biden. So you're actually a smaller spender, right? Jake Tapper, it's a dishonest question. He knows what is included in Trump's number. It's not included in Biden's number. And Jake Tapper was one of the biggest hysterics all over CNN, crying, screaming, put your mask on, go get your jab, or else you're going to be somebody who's an outcast in American society. Okay, so he knows why those numbers are what they are, but he asked a very dishonest question because he's a very dishonest man. We also know that there were some other issues that popped up. When we were going back and forth about this national abortion ban, one thing I've been noticing, and I'm sure you're seeing this too, is how they're using those follow-up questions. So basically, Jake Tapper was asking questions about abortion, or I think that was Dana Bash who was asking questions about abortion. And then Joe Biden was going through this final 1-minute speech where he was saying Trump would pass a national abortion ban. And ordinarily, Trump started to speak, right? They cut the mic off and they moved on to the next question. But Trump, they just could have asked him and we would have seen. Now the debate is back, my friends, so let's kick this back on.
Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less.
What a rigged question, these people.
Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're providing housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporate these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed.
Vote for me or you ain't black.
Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals who had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody.
Everybody, all of us.
It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
We might have a big problem.
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy.
COVID.
Absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation.
It was COVID.
At the time.
President
there were no jobs.
Biden.
We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, the ACA has increased. I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again. And they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis.
Oh, really?
2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires.
Such an important issue in America today. Yes, we know.
Former
It's summertime.
President Trump,
it's hot.
you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded,
yes,
and the opportunity zones with with Tim, as you know. Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job, great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people.
Shows
he's
up
also
in real
done
life.
a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs. And it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
Great answer.
38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using
so delicious
all forms of energy.
It was
all
so
forms,
good.
Everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I've passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. We find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges, I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have.
How much did he say?
They don't have the kind of contributors that they have.
15 million?
Build these
billion.
laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water, he hadn't done a damn thing for the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, where there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to, the United States can't get its pollution under control? One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half. We have made significant progress.
Will the seas stop rising too, Obama?
We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people who learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
you're done.
So
You're
every
done.
day,
Quiet.
millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income of their paycheck every single time they get a paycheck from the time of the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're gonna, I've been proposing that everybody, they pay, the millionaires pay 1%.
What?
So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still
you
have
pay
82
1%
seconds
in.
left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent, but the biggest thing will do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanted to cut Social Security and Medicare, both times. And that's what. And if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that he, I believe, supports, is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only thing that allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they in fact are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation where I talk about education for black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 toward their tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face about so many other things, too.
He just did that today.
And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie.
Yeah,
it's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it, because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden.
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. And by the way, when I said suckers and losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged.
That's why he said it.
He was the one standing with Trump when he said it, number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world, the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession, and inflation is going to increasingly go up.
Just like the 51 intelligence.
159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people.
Not enough.
You pay a price for it.
Not enough.
They were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that Afghan the Afghanistan horror show.
Disaster,
the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody?
No.
Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America.
Oh, here we go.
There's nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world, the finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up. Go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst.
Just like the 51 intelligence liars. No one cares about your fake
worst.
lists.
They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden.
Facilities.
President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you, and they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about, he's increased the tariff, he will increase the taxes on middle-class people. I said I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariffs. Everything coming into the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that are very important. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he somehow helped the middle class. The middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You had the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are at the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden.
You lost
Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you,
and the Sackler
the
family,
number of overdose deaths in this country
morning.
has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, We now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China.
Yeah.
We have, so I think he's afraid to deal with them.
Hunter did, yeah.
But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low, because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways. But the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen, at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
Fentanyl and the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl. These big machines that roll over.
Just close the border.
And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border. And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues, said, "Don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically." No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together.
Okay, just close the border.
That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Good idea.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now.
He answered it. Close the border, get the economy working, get people a purpose.
Because this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say it's a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter, I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said,
Evan's coming home.
Literally, as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago, but Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where he paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you.
What?
President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your 2nd term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
I have drugs.
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the 2nd youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought off a lot of people. The whole idea of computer chips. We used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and then bring home a product. So I went to South Korea. I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And guess what? Those fabs, they call to build these chips, those fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them. And there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our allies.
Even when he's doing this rah-rah.
And those who he cuddles up to, from Kim Jong-un, he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc.
Like this is a rah-rah speech.
They don't want to screw around with us.
Campaign stuff.
Thank you.
Sounds like death.
Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they've never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds.
What?
Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
Golf?
8.
Never.
But I have, you know how many?
Never. I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to turn
Let's not act like children.
to a specific concern that voters have about you.
Yes.
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins? And
No.
you will say
clearly.
right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen.
Yeah, she
in
saw it.
addition
She
to
didn't
the
care.
speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. But the only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again.
That's right.
We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is attack on all, and required response. The idea, I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done and what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful peace. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people.
Yeah, because the
They're
presidency is a
capable of
nice
anything. They step
position.
up when they're
Like we
needed.
all
And
would
right
be president.
now,
Like that'd be
we're
cool.
needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own
I'd give it
safety
a
is at
shot.
stake. And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take
Couldn't be
Kyiv,
worse than Joe.
Make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
No.
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He
Nothing.
knew not to do it.
Not one
Not gonna
square
play
foot.
games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've
What do you
lost
think's
so
gonna
many
happen?
people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions.
Yep.
Russia would have never attacked
Shame.
if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and
Thank you.
good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win.
Yep.
But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level.
Yeah,
because
that's
the
right.
people understand it.
We recognize it's a
Let's
rigged.
see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all
DOJ
this
didn't even look into it there, Joe.
misrepresentation, all this
Thanks, Bill
stealing.
Barr.
There's no evidence of that at all.
Yes, there is.
And I tell you what,
You rigged
I
it.
doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea, if you
Name
lose
calling.
again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
Oh, that's their talking point.
We'll be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate, live from Georgia.
All right, so I think they're going to come back and give us some closing statements here. So, very interesting segment there. Joe Biden is clearly a liar. So let's recap a little bit about what we heard. I thought that the J6 stuff was outstanding. Really glad to hear that Trump brought that up. The J6 little tidbit there about how they wanted 10,000 National Guards to be there on J6. Absolutely happy to hear that. Something we've been screaming about for a long time. The fact that so many Americans are tuning into this and the fact that they got to hear it, I think is also a good thing. Wish it would have come a little earlier in the segment. I think they know people start to tune off after the first hour, especially after the first, hour plus. People start to bail out of there. But I still think a lot of people are going to hear that, and that is a very powerful thing for a lot of people to realize. Wait a minute. Trump asked for 10,000 people there? Wait, he asked it in writing, and Pelosi rejected it, and Mayor Muriel Bowser rejected it? Maybe I should look into that a little bit more. Hopefully they do, because that was another rigged operation. I would have liked to seen a little bit more about the political persecutions, the political prosecutions that have been happening. Don't think we're going to get to that tonight. I think we're going to come back and have some closing arguments from both sides, and then that will be the end of it. Now, there was something interesting also. Did you see before this started? I think that the rules are that we're going to get one final statement from Trump. He'll have the last word, and they got to flip a coin. So you got to pick whether you wanted the podium or whether you wanted the final word or something. And Joe Biden picked the podium, and he's going to give Trump the final word, which is pretty interesting. So don't know if that is because they don't want Americans having Joe Biden's voice as the last thing they hear before they tune this thing off. But very interesting stuff. I thought the border conversation was also curious. Human trafficking came up. Trump was, I think, on point all night, doing a good job talking about different policy issues. Joe Biden's coming out, dropping the name-calling routine now, calling them whiners. And you notice that we read this only on our member streams that we do on Locals and YouTube for our membos in the mornings. I think we read that one of their talking points was going to be a snap, right? That they were going to just snap, or that they were going to argue that Trump snapped, and that this is a new person who's totally unhinged and all of that. He's demented and he's gone off the rails. Don't think we've seen that at all. Trump has felt totally calm, totally collected. Not at all what we saw in that first debate. No interruptions even happening. Joe Biden's trying to talk over him when his mic is off. And very, very good stuff. Very good segment. Now, I also think that Joe Biden hasn't had any real catastrophic errors so far. There was that bad one at the start that we all just went, oh gosh. And even I made the comment that Hillary Clinton's warming up in the bullpen. But I don't, are they going to, I don't think it's catastrophic so far. So that's actually good news, I think, for Trump, because the one thing we were concerned about is that this debate would give them enough time to then swap out a candidate, right? We were all asking ourselves, why are we here so quickly? And can they swap out a candidate in time? And my concern on that, here we're back. So let's get this back cooking. My concern on that is that any other candidate...
Reminder that we will get your reaction to what you've said.
Any other candidate would have some plausibility, right? They're not going to be able to rig the Joe Biden election because nobody likes him. The polls don't show it. Even Nate Silver came out and said Trump has like a 65% chance of winning this thing.
It's now time for the candidates to deliver their closing statements.
And here we are, wrapping it up, my friends.
By a coin toss. We're going to begin with you, President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
We've made significant progress from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience, or anyone out watching this debate, do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes, and will not. And if I'm reelected, that'll be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit. Number one. He's increased inflation because of the debacle he left after the way he handled the pandemic.
No one's going to buy this.
And he finds himself in a position where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along, it's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credit people have for child care. I'm going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do, all he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell.
Yep.
We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like, even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get, when you're terminally ill, now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Let's go.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
All right. So we'll keep our eye on this. Let's see if there's any body language. There's Joe putting his cap on his pen, watching this as they sign us off. And that's the debate. Wow. All right, my friends. So they're going to kick this over. That was C-SPAN. And so they'll pull us off here in a bit. But we've got a lot to debrief here. So let's first of all talk about some of the things that we noticed on the day. I did not like at the start of this when we got into the economy. And they were saying that really that Trump had a worse deficit than Joe Biden, which was very curious because they left out a little context on that we had a little thing called COVID. And Jake Tapper was very sneaky with that question. And he just moved on to the next question in the sequence when Trump didn't get an opportunity to really respond to that. I thought it was kind of a shady, underhanded question. You know why the deficits were different there, Jake. It's because of COVID. And you put that question in there because you're a dishonest hack. That's the analysis here. We also saw that there were no follow-ups that were provided to Donald Trump on the claim of abortion. So Joe Biden did, a somewhat decent job of that tonight, where he would wrap up that second 1 minute part of the question, and he would make a broad, basically non-refutable claim at the very end, and then Trump didn't have an opportunity to respond to that. So there was a question about a national abortion ban, right? Biden came out and said, Trump wants a national abortion ban. And Trump tried to, I think, start talking there a little bit, but then they cut the mic, and Jake just said, oh, let me ask you about climate change now, right? Because he got his mark. Jake Tapper's job was to get Joe Biden to say the right thing, and then Jake Tapper could run interference, right? As long as Joe Biden drops that talking point, national abortion ban, Donald Trump snapped, and so on. Then Jake can step in there and be a linebacker, and then Trump has to move on because Jake can just change the topic. We also saw that, as I said, I thought that the J6 stuff was just great. The 10,000 troops made me so happy. Finally, we got to hear about that in public on a main huge stage like that. And Trump did his homework there. Trump knew all about Nancy Pelosi. Trump knew all about the National Guard that he ordered there, right? These are very important things that, in our opinion, would have prevented all of it. So why did it happen? One, either they wanted it to happen, which they did, or two, they're incompetent, which is also probably true. So we have a lot of different explanations for it. But the fact is, Trump brought it up. They tried a bunch of stuff to mitigate this. Joe Biden came out and literally lied about that. The J6ers didn't kill anybody. Okay, Brian Sicknick and the other Capitol Hill police officers who died by suicide in the aftermath of that never died from J6. Even Brian Sicknick died of natural causes. Okay, the Capitol Hill police confirmed that for us in their own press release. Now, Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, they never let a crisis go to waste. They never let a death go to waste. And so they exploited the hell out of that man's memory, and his family was apparently involved in that. And they just, they joined in on the fun. So that was all fake, all lies. We're very aware of that, but they don't care. They're shameless. The other lie that we saw was about the Snopes article that we pulled up. We fact-checked Joe in literal real time. He came out, did a big long speech on that lie about the Fine People hoax, totally fraudulent. Never happened. Even Snopes, who is not a fan of Trump or the right wing, confirmed that for us. So a direct lie in front of the American public. And how many people on the Democrat side are going to call him out on that, right? Is the media going to hold his feet to the fire on that? Probably not. We had a lot of talk about fentanyl and addiction. I thought that was a good conversation. And I would have liked Trump to just say, just close the border, because they came to him like 3 times on that question. What would you do to stop addiction? Well, I've never drank alcohol, Trump could say that, right? I've always had a culture and a philosophy of sobriety. Would have been good to say something like that. We want to encourage more of that in our country. But when you have economic downturn, when you have a collapsing country, people will often turn to different things to self-medicate. And because Joe is wrecking the border, wrecking our communities, making our streets unsafe, creating inflation so it's hard to prepare or to save any money or buy a house, right? All of those things cause people to be depressed, and it caused them to hate their country, hate their lives, and so they turn into self-medication. So Trump, I think, could have been a little stronger on that. You want to deal with fentanyl? Easy. Close the border. Pretty simple thing we can do there, and then solve that. Now, the golf conversation I thought was also hysterical. Obviously, Joe Biden can't swing a club to save his life, but that was a fun conversation, and Trump's just scoffing at him. You can't even swing a 5 handicap. I don't know anything about golf, but you're 5 handicap. You're clearly not. I can see how you swing. And Joe Biden can't hardly walk up a tall flight of stairs. So you think he's swinging a golf club? I don't think so. But the fact that these two guys, they obviously hate each other. Joe Biden hates him. Was on display for all of us to see, and that was a lot of fun to unpack. Now, the big takeaway, and I think the big thing that a lot of people are going to be digesting, and the thing I think probably matters the most of all of this, like, we can sit here and we can debate talking points, we can splice and dice all the different answers, and Trump said this year and that year is wrong, and fact check this and fact check that. I think you hear a lot of people say stuff like most communication is nonverbal, right? You'll even hear people put percentages on that. They'll say, well, 80% of communication is nonverbal. So you see how body language, how people's eyes meet your eyes, how their micro expressions adjust every time something happens, how their voice operates. Okay, when you want your president going into a room with Putin or Xi or any one of these other leaders, pick MBS or pick Netanyahu or any of these people, do you want them to sound like that? Do you want them to be stuttering and like doing that little look? And I don't mean to put that like that look. Like, I know it's rude and condescending to kind of make fun of somebody like that, but like, that's literally what we're dealing with. Okay, that's the president, right? You wouldn't hire a salesman to go out and act like that. You're like, all right, look, man, you're probably not a good salesman. It's nothing against you, but maybe you should just do like write copy or something like that. Just pick a different profession. But that's and we got to see that for 90 minutes. We got to see a bunch of stuttering all over the place. His voice sounds like he's on the verge of death. And at the start of the debate, he did not look good. And so we're asking ourselves, we were talking about this with Stephen Gardner at the start of the show, and we'll see if he has anything to any debrief here with us. But if it takes him 7 days to prepare for that, if he has been in a resuscitation chamber, like a vampire's coffin or whatever, and he still sounds like that, like that's the best that he can do after all of that time, he took 7 days not attending to the business of the country. Yeah, come on in, man. Good. I was just thinking about you. not attending to the business of the country, and that was his performance. And so Stephen Gardner, my friends, is joining us. Super grateful to have you here. Thanks for seeing you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming back, my friend. So thoughts, reactions. We were just talking about Joe Biden's demeanor and how he was comporting himself. What'd you think?
Oh, I thought it was a wonderful debate. Trump was composed. He didn't let CNN or Biden get away with anything. He brought humor. I thought it was great. My favorite part was when they started arguing about their golf score.
Yeah.
But no, he just handled it really well. The main talking points that I think they were trying to get him on were January 6th, and he handled that like a boss.
Yep.
And also abortion. Well, would you accept the morning after pill or whatever?
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, of course, because the Supreme Court just approved that.
Yeah.
You know, so like, boom, he just shut that down so quickly. It was great.
Yeah, he had his policy on point. What'd you think about Biden and his?
Okay, so his very first answer, you could tell he had like a frog in his throat.
Yeah.
And instead of just clearing his throat and being done with it, he ended up sounding really weak.
Yeah.
And soft-voiced. I mean, if I were Trump, I would have said, "You mind speaking up? I can barely hear you."
Yeah,
Right? That would have been a
yeah.
really subtle slam. But Biden, he handled himself better than I expected.
Yeah.
At the same time, he looked very weak. I was out in a room full of people. When he got stuck in his sentences, you could feel the empathy in the room.
Yeah.
And then the embarrassment.
Yeah.
Like once he got through it. And so it's like, do we want this in an American leader? I don't think so. I think we need strength. We need confidence. So those are my thoughts.
Right. And we were watching that, like the anticipation when he would just kind of stop. Yeah. What do you think is the future prospect for Joe? So like before this started, some of us were talking about maybe they wanted to accelerate this debate so that there was time to get rid of him, right? So if he falls, if he just stumbles or has one of those moments that we've seen before, they've got months now to swap in Hillary, to swap in Newsom or any of those things. And did you see anything like that? Did you?
Well, out on CNN, on your other TV, it said within minutes of the debate ending, Dems say that Biden is in danger.
Really?
I mean, like they had to have had this pre-programmed,
Yeah.
right? So on the one hand, I've heard that they did this early enough in the year that they would have all summer to figure out someone to replace him or to clean up his image. Something that I heard just a couple days ago in one of my interviews is somebody actually put out the idea that what if they're actually trying to humiliate Biden on the national stage because he is digging his heels in. He doesn't want to leave.
Right.
Obama wants him to leave. Hillary Clinton wants him to leave. Bernie Sanders wants him to leave. They are all very concerned about losing. Just 2 days ago, it was trending on Twitter that Obama has been secretly calling all of the top Democrats saying, what are we going to do about Joe? Right? And so there is great concern among the Democrat Party about his age, his stamina, and his ability to think clearly for the country.
Yeah, and that's a great update. And I've been seeing that too, but I did not see that on CNN, that they came out. It feels like to me they were warming up. I made a crack on the stream about after that first little flub from Joe that Hillary was warming up. You know, she's out there stretching. Gavin Newsom's like cracking his neck, you know, putting some icy hot on, getting ready to go. And I guess there's a question, right? Did Joe Biden, was his performance bad enough to trigger that? Because one of my thoughts is, my concern is that if they replace Joe with somebody else, and I was talking to our friend Joe Neerman, Good Logic, who's also on YouTube about this. And by the way, my friends, if you don't know who this is, I know it's a new face here. This is Stephen Gardner, okay? He's also on YouTube. He has a great channel. He does a ton of stuff, talks a lot about the same things we talk about. And we're really grateful that he's here. We just happened to bump into each other. What are you doing for the debate? We're at the Trump Hotel, so it's kind of serendipitous. So,
yes.
But make sure you go check out his stuff. He's over on YouTube and all of the other platforms, and he does great work. So the thing that I was concerned about was also if Joe Biden came out, when I was gaming this out, if Joe Biden came out and failed badly, then there would be no question they would just swap him out, right? They'd throw in Hillary, they'd throw in Newsom or somebody else. If Joe Biden did great, then he has another opportunity to fail at the next debate. But if it's not bad enough, then they're not going to have they're not going to have enough energy to get rid of him, right? To make that hot swap. And I don't know that I saw that tonight. I mean, I thought he was really bad. But when you go to Joe, if Obama calls Joe and says, you got to go, right? I think Joe, his family, his wife, I think all of them, Dr. Jill, they'll all be sitting around saying he did fine. He did great. He survived.
Yeah, I don't know that he did a bad enough job to pull him out, which may be opposite of what they wanted. They either wanted him to do really, really well or to flop. And I think he just did poorly.
Yeah.
Which then triggered my very first thought, which was they're now going to have to jail Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So they have to get Trump off the campaign trail. They have to give Joe every advantage possible. They can do it under the umbrella of the law and a jury and a judge. And so my very first thought was Trump is going to Rikers Island.
Wild. Have you thought what happens after that?
Well, no, because you have, top Democrats, especially on the J6 committee, they're now saying anyone who has the title of felon shouldn't have Secret Service.
Right.
And so they want to send him to one of the most dangerous jails in New York, and they want to remove his Secret Service. So when Tucker Carlson says everything is trending towards taking this man off of planet Earth,
yeah,
you can start to see his logic. Will they actually do that? It would be very bad. Look how screwed up the country was after JFK. But can they keep him off the trail to give Biden the advantage? Yes, they can, and I think they're going to use that card.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth there. We were talking a little earlier about some of this, and we've talked about it here as well. Why would they go through all of this motion to then not ask for jail? I think that the prosecutors will certainly ask for jail. The defense attorney in me and the prior practitioner thinks it would be insane if they did that. Like, it would be insane to jail him for a first offense on a case like this. Of all the other cases we've seen, it would be madness. But we also had that same feeling back when they indicted him the first time. And then when they put the trials on, like, I can't believe we're really going to trial. And then when the conviction, I can't believe they actually convicted him. And it's like the same story, just on repeat. So why are we going to get all the way to the finish line with Judge Merchan, and then he doesn't order him to jail? And the only thing that I was thinking of that would be maybe a split between the two, which would accomplish a lot of what you're saying, would be home detention with work release. So when I was practicing law, we would do that a lot, right? Our clients would not actually physically report to a jail, but they would report back to their home as though their home was the jail. And then they would get out on work release for a certain period of time, let's say 8 hours, 9 hours a day, as many days as you work. And so then they could do that, right? Merchan would basically put him in jail without putting him in jail, so that the country wouldn't be outraged by the visual of Trump going into prison, but he would still be practically shackled and not available to hit the campaign trail. And so it's coming up soon. Any thoughts?
Yeah, whether it's arrest or house arrest, it keeps him off the campaign trail. And at the end of the day, I believe that they wanted the title felon.
Yep.
And I think that they want him off of the campaign trail.
Yeah, and do you think that will be sufficient to? I mean, I got to imagine that just increases the reaction. You know, the reaction every time Trump gets convicted or indicted, it feels like he said tonight, he does go up in the polls.
Yeah.
And I guess how much crazier can it get? They're running out of options.
Well, I think if they jail him, he is going to continue to run from jail. He's going to win from jail. I talk to so many people. Most of my family are Democrats, and they are saying, hey, listen, we don't like this guy. We hate the mean tweets.
Yeah.
But this is abusive. This feels like something you would see in Russia or Venezuela. America is better than this. And so they see that Joe Biden and the DOJ and the FBI, they're colluding against somebody that they hate, Donald J. Trump. We saw this with the CIA covering up the Hunter Biden laptop. We saw with the FBI's involvement in the January 6th Capitol breach. So to say that the intel agencies aren't doing everything they can to interrupt the flow of Donald Trump, you would have to have your eyes closed.
Right, and they tried that same thing again today, that 51 intelligence letter scam, which was a hoax, and courted by the CIA. We talked a lot about that, about how they were actual CIA contractors. Remember, they told us that they had no affiliation. These are private citizens who have First Amendment rights and all the things. Like, no, Michael Morell worked for the CIA, and we know that because they sent the records on that. And Joe tried that a lot again tonight. He was trying that. We have 129 economists, and we have 100, all these other people on the list. And I don't know that that's going to go well for him. I mean, the takeaway in my concluding remarks tonight were about his demeanor and his body language, and about basically what you said. Do you want your president to be showing up in the rooms like that, fluttering his eyes, stuttering all over himself? Which I don't mean to belittle him. I just don't think he should be the president. Right, he can just go retire and just kind of get out of here, and then we wouldn't have to comment on his stuttering and his inability to talk. Sound like Joe Biden over here. But so if that trend continues, right? If he, let's say at this next debate, is not thrown off the ticket, I guess we got to see what the reaction looks like today and see if the Dems have had enough of him. But who might they swap him for? Any thoughts on that?
Well, we saw just right here on the screen, they're saying, Gavin Newsom, please. Gavin, intervene. Gavin, please. But I don't think most people want California politics.
Yeah.
They are bankrupt. They have the highest taxes in the land. They can't take care of their people. Nobody wants Gavin Newsom to be the president. So then you have Kamala Harris. Okay, everybody thinks that she's terrible. She can't communicate very well, yet she has the, because she is black, they don't want to remove her.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of backed themselves into a corner, which is why they're all, lying through their teeth that they back Joe Biden.
Yeah.
The reality is they know that they are backed in a corner.
Yeah. Have you noticed any thoughts on Hillary? I mean, I've noticed Hillary's been popping back up. She had a new book come out, and I've seen some headlines like she's waiting in the wings. She's ready to go. Any real fear from Hillary?
I mean, she may want to be humiliated again.
Yeah.
I do think that she could be their strongest person. They could say, well, Trump only won because of the Electoral College, but she won the popular vote, therefore she is popular.
Yeah.
Even though she gets booed and harassed and hassled everywhere she goes. One of the biggest problems the Democrats have right now is this Palestine-Israel issue, right? On the one hand, Joe Biden wants the Muslim vote, especially in Minnesota. On the other hand, he wants Jewish money.
Right.
And so he's trapped. He's literally trapped. Well, you have protesters interrupting Hillary Clinton's classes or speaking engagements. By the way, she gets paid almost $400,000 a speech. For what?
Crazy.
Like, as much as the President of the United States for 1 hour?
Crazy.
What value could she have?
None.
It's just more pay to play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more laundering.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Hillary, I think you're right. I think that she would have a hard time. The only thing, as I said earlier, is that it gives the government the plausibility that somebody else could win, and that gives them the ability to rig it again, basically. So if they try to rig it, like in Arizona, it was what, 11,000 votes in 2020. I think in Georgia, it was like 11,000 votes. In Wisconsin, it was like 15,000 votes. Michigan was big, 180,000 votes or whatever. But, and we chronicled a lot of that. I mean, we talked about how they rigged it in Michigan, how they had the presumption of validity for the signatures that came across as part of the official policy from the Secretary of State. The signatures were presumed valid, so you didn't actually check them, so they just made their way through. And that's all coming out now. So we've got that, we've got the 51 intelligence people, all the things happening, all the gears, all the levers that we saw, the Fulton County water main break, remember that, like 2 a.m, water main breaks, people are pulling out, all of it. So if Joe Biden is down, if this election goes forward, Joe Biden's down, I don't think he's down by 11,000 votes. I don't think he's down by 20,000 votes. So the margin for them to rig it, right? The margin of fraud needs to be much bigger, which exposes them, so they'll be able to. We'll see it, right? We'll be able to see it. They can't hide it and just call it a close election. If they swap someone out, if they bring in Hillary, if they bring in any other candidate, and I want to ask you about Michelle Obama, see what you think about her. But then if they do rig it, then the narrative will be that Trump is just, people don't want him again. They want a fresh face. They want someone new. And the country just, we hated both of those candidates. And so now we just installed Michelle Obama. Any thoughts on Michelle or that?
Yeah. Well, Michelle Obama is the most popular Democrat next to her husband, Barack, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, she has said clearly, I don't want to do this. I'm shy.
Yeah.
I'm going through menopause. These are all things that she has publicly confessed. So, but could she pull a Joe Biden, I didn't want to do this, but when I saw Trump say one thing, whether true or false, and I just knew for my two daughters, I had to step in and save the country. She could do something like that.
Yeah.
But my gut tells me they're more likely to ask a Gavin Newsom than a Michelle Obama.
Interesting. Yeah, and I kind of agree. Every time I see Michelle or I read articles about her, I think she just would hate it. Like, I think she doesn't like this whole life at all. I think she's got a lot of probably disdain towards the process. And anyways, so I agree. I think I tend to discount her just because she's got this almost visceral reaction to it. And a lot of that shows up on the campaign trail. It's just you're not an attractive person. The other thought I was thinking too was they could do, like, because how do they get rid of Kamala? Like you said, they have to swap her out and give her a different position. So what if they did something like Hillary gets the top of the ticket, Newsom gets the VP slot because he wants to take it in 2028. And, well, I guess that wouldn't work out because Hillary would be president twice, right? She would have 2 terms on that. Long story short, I was thinking about Hillary goes to the presidency, Newsom comes in as VP, they give Kamala a California slot, send her back to California, make her the governor, put her in line for a Senate spot or something like that. But I guess we'll see.
I have heard one theory that Gavin Newsom likely won't come out in favor of running for president because his first act on the national stage would be to lose.
Right.
Right. And so for his reputation to hold him for 2028, they need him to be the polished golden boy image, right? The handsome, tall, thick-haired, big, white, grinny teeth, smile. Hillary, okay, she might be able to win. We could throw her under the bus. If not, she's used to that. But the one thing I have heard that they could say to Kamala, listen, help us win this, and then you will be the person that we put on the Supreme Court bench.
Wow.
I have heard that theory. Now, I think she would be a terrible judge because she was a terrible attorney general. Remember, she has put more black men in jail than any other attorney general over tiny amounts of marijuana.
Yes.
And the black community needs to know that. I love the black community. I want them to rush into the Republican Party, and I want the Republican Party to embrace them. But yeah, she and Joe have done more to hurt the black community than any 2 other Democrats that I can think of right now.
Yes.
And they're paired up as president and vice president.
Yes.
And but I think a lot of people are having their eyes open. People vote with their wallets, and right now their wallets are hurting.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. And the reason I was cheering over here as you were saying that is because we talk a lot about that on the channel. And I rant about this all the time. I think Republicans dropped the ball on holding them accountable for the 1994 crime bill and Kamala as the AG, because Joe Biden's responsible for, he at least signed on a lot of the bills. I don't know if he wrote them or anything, but back in the 80s and 90s, I think it was like the 86 crime bill, the 88 crime bill, the 94 crime bill. He was either the original sponsor or the creator of the bills in some of these. And they were the crack cocaine bills. They were the mandatory minimum penalties, right? If you get caught, it's automatic 5 years, just automatic, because it's such a devastating drug and all these things. Then the 3 strikes rules. All of these things were emanating from Joe Biden. and from Kamala. They had 30 years of implementing this stuff. And then in 2020, George Floyd happens, and they come out, and suddenly they're like criminal justice reform activists. And the Republicans just kind of let them claim that mantle. And I was blowing a gasket on that, obviously, as you know.
Yeah, well, remember when Kamala was running for president against Joe Biden, she basically accused him of being a pedophile.
Yeah.
That he called blacks super predators,
right.
That he wrote the crime bill.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden she's asked to be vice president, and she's like, oh, Uncle
What
Joe,
happened?
he's so friendly. He's the best. We did it, Joe. We did it. You did what? You made gas ridiculously expensive.
I know.
You made diesel through the roof. All the prices went up. Now gas has come down a little bit, but nobody's lowering their prices.
Right.
And so you have people that, again, they're going to be voting with their wallet, and their wallet is hurting.
Yeah, and I agree with that completely. And I think that a lot of what we heard tonight on the debate was red herrings around that issue. It's a lot of these other things. They talked about climate change. They talked about, the border. Even a lot of these issues, I think, come back down to your pocketbook. You're wondering, why am I not doing so good? You start looking around for other things. You say, well, that's probably a reason. I see this in my streets. That's probably a reason. I see that in the store. That's probably a reason. I see that over here. And it's hard to overcome that. And I don't know that Biden did that tonight. I mean, he tried to. I think in his closing statement, he said he tried to bring up some economic talking points again, but I don't think he did what he needed to do, which is good, and I don't think he fell on his face as hard as some of us were expecting, which I think is also good, because I think that kind of keeps him in the race a little bit longer. And even if there is an effort to give him the boot, they're going to have some justification to keep him around.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Trump said that I agree with is, I wish Biden were a better president.
Yeah.
And here's why I say that is, I don't want my country to hurt.
Right.
I don't want my country to struggle. I don't want us to be involved in foreign wars, but to hope and pray that Biden struggles is, to me, like praying that the pilot of your airplane.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, he's been installed.
Yep.
He is the leader of the country. It doesn't mean that I like him or that he's doing a good job, but I don't want him to so damage America that we can't come back from it when conservative values do get back into the White House. And that is a concern of mine that I have, is he's done so much damage in 3.5 years. It may take longer than 4 years for even Trump to rebuild that, which is why whoever's going to be Trump's vice president is imperative, because conservatives have the opportunity to take the country for 12 years.
Yeah.
That would be a game changer.
That's great. Do you have a preference at this point?
So I think it's going to come down to between Vivek Ramaswamy and J.D. Vance. I think that they are the strongest when it comes to carrying Donald Trump's policies forward. As much as I love Trump, he has an ego.
Yeah.
And he believes he's done a good job, and I agree that he has. So he's going to want to pick someone that's going to carry that forward. He's also going to want to have somebody who is extremely bold to have his back, unlike Mike Pence, who was not bold and did not have his back. And so for those reasons, I think that that's it. You have Elise Stefanik of New York. She's still kind of green. She's still kind of new. You have people that really like Carrie Lake. Well, Carrie Lake needs to win some political stuff. And I think that she's great, but I don't know that she's ready for vice president. You have Tim Scott, not super strong in my opinion. You have Byron Donalds from Florida, very, very strong, but you have both of them living in Florida. Who's gonna move their address? So those are the three I think that are the strongest, but I think it's going to come down to Vivek or JD.
Yeah, I love that, and I agree completely. I think that's a brilliant analysis. I like the other candidates too. I think people have talked about Ben Carson and some of these other guys, but like you said, Ben Carson I think is a little less of a pit bull. And you want somebody who's going to be out there as the vice president, selling your agenda and then inheriting that for the next 8 years. And that's why, I like Vivek. I mean, I really like what he's been saying. He kind of came out of nowhere, and I think that'd be a good pick, but we'll see. So amazing stuff, man. Any other final thoughts?
No, I'm gonna leave you to it. Thank you for being gracious and letting
Oh
me
my
come
gosh.
to your Trump room.
Super.
We are in the Trump Hotel.
That's right, baby. Las Vegas.
Hey, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, my friends. That's Stephen Gardner. So if you haven't checked out his channel yet, it's awesome. It's really great stuff. And we're grateful that he was able to come by and hang out with us for the night as we watched this historic debate. So really great analysis. As you can see, sharp dude, and knows what's going on out there very well. So make sure you subscribe to his channel. Stephen Gardner is the name. He's got a ton of amazing people over there. And so we're honored we got to spend some time together with him. So, all right. So my friends, let's hit some of these super chats, man. You guys have been amazingly generous. Super grateful for these that have come in. Now let's see what you say about this. Let's debrief and see what is happening in the house. Okay. So we also have, let me see if I can do this. Which ways? Okay, so we're figuring out, we're going to hit these donos, my friends. You guys have just been awesome. And, oh my gosh, we got Donut and John McGarvey clipping away for us as well. And so let me see if I can figure out how to share this screen. All right, because this was, we want to open this. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Man, we got some great donos in the house. You guys are awesome. All right, so we're going to share the screen. I'm going to try to figure this out and see if we can get this to work in our new setup. All right, here's the adjustment. Sorry for the delay on this. I know it doesn't make for great content, but we are going to share a window. And let's see if we can just share this, see how this works. All right, so this is our Telegram. All right, so we got some amazing donos in the house. This is not working. Okay, I can't do it that way, unfortunately. So when I click these, it's not working. All right, let me try this. No, all right. So John McGarvey and our friend Donut have been clipping hard for us today. You guys are awesome, but I can't pull those up in Telegram right now. So we will just read through them on the YouTubes. So we'll pull them up that way. Sorry about that, guys. I should have tried to figure that out before we started. John McGarvey, Donut Mind Me, clipping away for us. We love you guys. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to read these using that platform. But we got some other comments. So let's see. We're going to try to bounce amongst both sides. Waldo was in the house. Waldo, thank you for gifting us 5 membos. Great to have you. We had Sean Patrick coming in. John H. Robert the Great is here. Sue R. and Chaotic Puppet came in courtesy of Waldo. And thanks, Donut. So that's how we'll do it. Amazing. JC, what's up? Says, what are the odds on a Biden medical event? Well, nothing that we were able to see outright. Something may have happened in the brain, but nothing that we ultimately saw. We got this one. Jennifer, what's up, Jennifer? Jennifer is bringing in a bunch of people, 10 people. Jennifer brought in Hello Kidden, Maron Carrion, Trevor Smith, Matthew H, SCVM's coming in, Unknown Artist, One Jump Bob, Brian Clark, and Christopher S, all gifted membos, courtesy of Jennifer. We love you, Jennifer. Good to see you here. We got this one from Brian C. What's up, Brian? Says, Robert, God created you and your work for such a time as this. I'm grateful for your hard work. Brian, man, I had so much fun hanging out with you here today. Are you kidding me? This was a blast. I was sitting, oh my gosh. So I'm really grateful to spend the time with you. We got some awesome people in the other room who are enjoying it as well. We're trumping it out at Trump Tower. So I'm just honored to spend the time with you. Thanks for saying that, Brian. I do appreciate it. This one from Jason. What's up, Jason? Says, just took my Addy so I can keep up with Biden, right? Everybody's getting lit tonight. Want to get as drugged up as Joe, I guess. What's up, Jason? Thanks for the dono, my man. Thanks for being a membo for 4 months. Miranda, what's up? Says, what's the backup plan if they take you down on YouTube? Well, the backup plan was Rumble, and then that was down, and then the backup plan was Locals, and then that was down. So fortunately, they didn't take us down. There was strength in numbers amongst us tubers. Thanks, Miranda. Hey, what's up, Steph D? No other stream I'd rather watch. Steph, that's so nice of you to say that. Thank you for saying that. There were amazing people streaming tonight. I know Vivo was streaming. I know Good Logic was streaming. I know everybody else was streaming. Tim Pool was streaming. Benny Johnson was streaming. Everybody's streaming. So really honored we got to spend some time together here today. to dig into it. Super fun. What's up, Venik? Venik is here. Says CNN shutting down streamers would be a First Amendment violation. Yeah, I didn't think that they were going to try to do it. I know a lot of people were nervous about it. I'm like, come try it. I don't think that they were going to try it, and they didn't. What's up? We got this one from Venik. Says CNN here. Yeah, CNN shutting down people would be a First Amendment violation. Good to see you, Venik. What's up, Philip B? Orange man bad. I know I was pretty orange at the start of this segment today too. That's the standard line. Hey, what's up? Crisis at the Border just became a member. Great to have you. Philip B, what's up? Says orange man gone when I turn the lights off. Hey, should we see if the city's out? Here, let's see. It might be still a little, we'll let it get a little darker. What's up? We got Philip B. Matt G is in the house. Good to see you, Matt. Going to see Trump in Chesapeake, Virginia tomorrow. Amazing. Good to see you. Thanks for being a membo. What's up, Trisha? This is bad that locals and Rumbles have been compromised. I know. I don't know what happened on that tonight. I don't. That's not good. Like they told us that they were beefing up servers and stuff. Not ideal. But I wonder if they were attacked. I wonder if there was some other entity trying to take them down. Wouldn't surprise me, a DDoS attack or something like that, probably from the CIA. What's up? Good to see you, Bobsco. We had this one from Warrior Heart. Says, Steven, you have had some awesome shows lately. Yeah, so I was talking to Steven. What's up, Warrior Heart? Follow Steven. He told me he did like 11 interviews over the last couple of weeks. He's had tons of interviews. Amazing. So check it out. And I'm learning a lot from him. He's got a huge channel. What's up, Beth? Beth Coddington says, hey, Sweetums. What a wonderful surprise. Steven is there. Tell me about it. I know. We were at the event. And I looked over. I'm like, I know that guy. And I pointed my finger at him. I'm like, yeah. And I met him before at a different event. I'm like, is that you? On the other side of the room. He's like, yeah, it's me. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Says, I'm a new subscriber to you, Steven. I'm excited to hear both your thoughts. Much love. Yeah, he's awesome, obviously. Very sharp dude. Grateful to have him here joining us. Tons of fun. What's up, Lewis S. in the house with a nice dono. Thank you, Lewis, for sending that one in. Very generous of you. We've got this one from Deb Ramirez. Another sticker. Thank you, Deb. Very nice. We got this one from Philip B. Says, CNN has a gag order on Trump. Well, yeah, and Trump has gag orders on him. So part of my concern was he was going to violate the gag when he was in the middle of his answer. Wouldn't have been good. April M, what's up? Says, thank you, Rob and the Watcher fam. Thank you, April. Really appreciate you joining us. Thanks for being a member for the 7 months. You're awesome. We got this one from Salty Vet Dad. Says, both locals and Rumbles have evidently been taken down by the feds, by Biden. I know. Something got clogged in their tubes, man. We know how the clogs can get in the tubes. Happens to our tubes all the time. So what can you do? Norman Smith, it worked. We made it work. That's great. What's up? We had this one from Beth. Says, this question is for either of you. Would you like to take this? Oh, I'll take it. Thank you. Do you think that he will have an earpiece? I wouldn't be surprised. Also, I think Americans know this is rigged. Like they know the trials are rigged. And thank you. Yeah, I don't think he did have an earpiece. I made that quip about it because he was like touching his ear like this, Joe Biden. I'm like, all right, is that his earpiece? But I don't think so. I think he, you know. Did somebody check? I don't know. Did somebody check, to be honest? Like, did people check on these things? You know, when you go into a boxing match, they check you, right? They you know, wipe out your, hey, look here. What's in your mouth? Anything shit going on here? Open up here, nope, I got nothing sharp, nothing here, nothing, okay. Did they do that for this debate? I don't know. Do they even check? Norman S, what's up, says, debate time. Let's get ready to rumble. We're in Vegas, baby. Hey, what's up, JC? Says, please increase the debate volume 20%. I boosted it, I think, at max. That was at max. I was plus 400% on the screen. Warrior, Fox stream is ahead of you all by a minute. Fox. What, do they have advanced notice? Fox. What's up, Chubby? Biden clearly drugged up. The eyes reveal it all. Yeah, clearly. You could see he was on some sort of stimulants. And the other bad thing, the body language I thought was pretty bad, was the gape, the gaping mouth, the mouth gape. Like, you close your mouth. Looks like you're demented. Lance, what's up? If you look real close, you can see little white specks falling out of Biden's nose. Oh, is that cocaine or what? JC, bam, 100 points for mandates. Good gerb, JC says. Biden just lost, yeah. So I haven't seen any reaction at all. So we've been here this whole time. So I don't know what, and Steven was telling me, CNN saying that he's going to get nuked. They're going to get rid of him. Tony Hay Munkets, what's up, Tony Hay? bringing in 5 new membos. And let's see who those membos are. Yeah, we got membos here, courtesy of our amazing mods. We got Tony Hayes bringing in Wolves Lair, Oz M, Big Don. We got Celia and Jack also coming in as membos, thanks to Tony Hay Munkets bringing in 5 whole new membos. Let's see. We got this one from Indoctrination, says Rumble is back up. And cool, yeah, we got the stream fired up over there and on locals. It was after the first commercial break. I think they came back. JC says, if it's a medically necessary abortion, then good game. We got this one from MJ Powell, says, go President Trump, go! We have here, Jennifer says, Angry Joe, drink. Everybody's drinking, playing the bingo games. Good to see you, Jennifer. Hey, what's up, Viva MAGA? Says, rest in peace, locals. Cheers to that look on Brandon's face. Old Joe is cooked. Rock on, Robin Watchers. FJB LGB. Let's go, Brandon. FJB LGB. How do you identify? I'm a member of the FJB LGB community. That's pretty funny. What are you talking about? I support diversity all the time. I'm a huge proponent. Yeah, I'm a member of the FJB LGB community. What? Yeah. Ask me what it means. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Says, please lower your volume and stop interrupting. No. The reason we do the live streams here is so that we can interrupt them. If you'd like to go watch it without the interruptions, CNN was having that live over there on their channel. Good to see you, though, Ryan. Here's one from Mike L. They keep cutting the view of Biden when he starts looking too lost. Yeah, they put the side-by-side up, then they phase him out. So we saw that a lot tonight. Good to see you, Mike. Thanks for that one. Rob White says, Biden is looking like he's going downhill already. He's going to need his nap really soon and some more injections. Well, I was wondering about that. Do you think they probably had a long-term release patches or something, right? Just put on a skin patch and just let that kind of drip out. Hey, what's up? Ella says, I'm so proud of Trump keeping it cool. I agree. I thought he was very composed, very presidential. He got a little irritated at the golf thing. You can't golf for crap, you know, loser. But otherwise, I thought it was exactly right. It was not what we saw in that first debate. It was much better, and the contrast was just wild. To put these two side by side, somebody who has some oomph in the voice relative next to somebody who did not. Michelle P., what's up? I'll bet the second debate will be canceled because of Biden. 3 months as a memo. Good to see you, Michelle. We had this one from Rob White, says the more angry he gets, the more he will mess up. And we were seeing that, right? Joe got very angry when he was talking about his son, Beau. Don't you dare call him anything! Relax. All right, good to see you, Rob. Hey, Ray's here. As a veteran, I can confirm we hate Joe and we love Trump. There you go. Boom, it's official right there from a veteran right there. Thank you for your service, Ray. Good to see you. We got Tyler says they sandbagged Joe on purpose. There were no drugs. He looked kind of cracked to me. His eyes looked a little bit cracked out. Maybe that's just how he looks. Good to see you, Tyler. This one from Make It an Amazing Day with Johan. Whew, make it an amazing day. We love saying that. This administration cut community care access that President Trump put in place. Johan Beirut, veteran disabled, U.S. Marine Corps. Good to see you, Johan. Thank you for your service, sir. Thanks for being here and for saying that. We got this from Liberum. Says, Joe is as high as a kite, and he's still stuttering, even with all the drugs. Good to see you, Liberium. Mahiri, what's up, says, Joe Biden's new book, How a Con Man Became President. Happy anniversary, Mahiri. Thanks for being a membo for a full year. It's been a heck of a year. This one came in from Tony Hay. 5 more membos from Tony Hay in the house. Look who's coming in here. We got Jeff P., Patriot RV Life. We got Newbie, Eagle 80, and Q coming in courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets in the house. What's up? Carolyn G. is aboard as a new membo. Welcome aboard. Great to have you as a membo. We had a fun morning stream today. What's up, Lance? Trump needs to take a sniff and ask Biden to check his pants. Joe, LOL, that would be gold. Joe, did you soil yourself over there? All right, Jake, we're going to need a diaper cleanup on podium 1. Hey, what's up, John B? Joe's mumbling a mile a minute. Is that Hunter's stash? Hunter's usually into uppers, so yeah, maybe. Who knows? What's up? Good to see you, John. Make it an amazing day. Says Biden's trying to do a Clint Eastwood impression. Fail, fail, fail. What's up, Tyler? How many flies did Joe eat during this debate? I didn't see any, but you never know. Felix, here it comes. Hubris. Watch the hubris. Watch the hubris. Biden is going to break. Watch it. Chubby says, gotta love how Biden keeps getting to respond to everything Trump says, and Trump gets maybe 1 or 2 times to respond. Clearly not rigged against Trump, nothing to see here. Yeah, so you're noticing the same thing I was talking about, which is they sequenced the questions so that then as soon as Biden was done, they'd move on. As soon as Trump was done, Biden got a response. They sequenced them that way, just the ordering. So I saw that too, Chubby. This one came in from Felix. Here comes the hubris. Biden is breaking. This one from John says, no notes. Why was Joe turning pages on a notepad? They were not able to write. I thought maybe they could take notes. They couldn't bring notes out with them, but they could write their own notes, I think is what we saw. I'd rather be skiing says, I smell fear and desperation in Biden. He pooped his pants again. Dang it, Stormy. Trump 2024 from I'd rather be skiing. Good to see you. Hey, Beth Coddington says, Trump never attacks the Democrat voters, only the party. Biden called half the country domestic terrorists. Sad. Shameful. Yeah, from Beth. You're right. He did say that. He said, well, half the country is going to vote for him. What do you think? Yes, if when they know more, they're going to realize they're voting to end American democracy. That's one of the most anti-democratic things you could say. Vote for me or else your democracy's over. Joe Biden said that. Here, what's up, Linda? New membo. Good to see you, Linda. Thanks for joining us as our newest of membos. We got Felix says, commercial break saves Biden. Hubris will break him. We got Linda L as a new member. Welcome aboard, Linda. We got Tony Hay bringing in 5 more membos. Look who's coming in. Jessica C. Ollie's here. Malstrom, Yo-Yo, and JFB. All in the house, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets. What's up, Kenneth? Kenneth C just became a new membo. Great to see you. We love our membos. We have Felix says, the 2 bot game show CNN hosts suck. Yeah, they were pretty bad, but about what we expected. Chubby says, seeing Biden's performance, I'm betting Gavin Newsom ends up being endorsed as a replacement. Explains why he's in Georgia tonight. He was there hanging out, getting ready to go. This one came in from Felix, says the Biden car crash is hard to watch. We saw C. Reed. C. Reed's going to be here in Vegas. Says, you do know locals is down, right? Not to interrupt, though. I did know, yeah. I was hitting refresh multiple times trying to get it going, but it was down. Felix says, tax credits are a scam. You still have to pay it back to the IRS, though. Leon, what's up, Leon, says, only Trump 2024 and the world needs him to win. Love your show, Robert. Thank you for supporting President Trump from Dublin, Ireland. Shout out to our friends in Dublin. Shout out to our friends in Ireland. Would love to come visit your country. I've heard amazing things. Thanks for joining us here today. You're right, we do. The whole world needs them. What's up, Marty? Marty T is another YouTube member. And Mima, what's up, Mima? Thanks for becoming a membo. We got Chief Vince, gifted 5 membos. Chief Vince, you're the man. Look who's coming in. My Bet is here. Boiler Operator just came in. Papa Joe's here. Not that Joe. CV Grady and J Dubs, gifted membos, courtesy of Chief Vince. We've got Kelly R, been a membo for 7 months, says, Trump needs to say Joe is very wealthy, and he's a tax evader, too. This one from Tyler says he literally just lied about what Trump said during the debate. Trump said he should have fired that general. From Tyler. What's up? Felix says, paid propaganda by bot economist experts. Yeah, I'm sure. Just like the experts from the CIA. Oh, no, they don't work for the Treasury Department. They used to. Got it. What's up, Jennifer? Doing better than any nation in the world, but our economy isn't the greatest. President Poopy Pants Joe. Yeah, and is that true? Are we doing better than any other country in the world? I mean, I know they say that, but I don't know if that's true. What's up, Chubby? Says, there's no way that Joe Biden is this good at recollection. Going back and forth, 3 to 4 questions. We saw him fiddle with his ear, clearly being fed info against the rule. Cowboy Rob says, Biden is so full of it. Kelly R says, Joe either has an earpiece or a hidden lapel mic or notes. Biden's meds are wearing off. He looks shocked at some of what Trump says. Yeah, the face was bad. Was, oh. What are you doing, Joe? You're the president. Close your mouth. Cowboy Rob says, notice Biden avoided answering the question about taking a cognitive test. I did notice that. Felix says, Trump broke Biden on World War III. He admitted to World War III. Posted said, Trump needs to talk about uniting America. We could have had a little bit more of that in that final closing statement about how enough already, all right? It's time to come together. He could have even said something, maybe at the next debate. It's like, I know there's disagreements, about certain things, but this is the time, right? This is the time for us to come together. Joe Biden's been dividing us for the last 4 years, but we're not going to do that. Let's change the tune. Lost Cause. 5 new membos coming in from Lost Cause. Great to see you. Bridget Leaf Barnes. We got Charmaine Lily in the house. Uncle Ruckus, James M, and Robin all in the house. Gifted membos courtesy of Lost Cause. Good to see you, Lost Cause. Jay Water, Roadless Wolf says, name one presidential debate in recent history that had commercial breaks. Why now? So that Joe could get a break, probably. Catch his breath. Hey, Acid Burn says, I can't do live chat. Why? Well, good question. Maybe you have to be a subscriber. Did I put that mode on today? Don't know if I did. But we got that message. Kelly R says, the best response from Trump was, I wish you were a great president. I wish you were. Hands down. Although, let's not act like children was pretty good too. Yeah, those are good, Kelly R. There was another one he said too. I was like, oh, money. But those are good ones. I can't remember it. Hey, what's up, Matt? Is Biden talking to me? I support MAGA and Trump. Didn't this POS just call me and tens of millions and others threats to democracy because of J6? Yeah, he did. He called you that, Matt. He said, if you don't vote for him, you're ending American democracy. That's our democracy in action, our president. What's up? Suedas Lounge says, Biden made no significant mistakes. This guy is so senile, I couldn't even understand half of what he was saying. Well, I guess I would say he was Joe Biden. Like, he wasn't worse than the Joe Biden we know. He definitely was not better than the Joe Biden we know. He was just Joe. And it's like, all right, if they'll keep Joe around and let him limp on through this election, then that's what you want. You don't want him to fall on his face, and you don't want him to overperform. You kind of want him to be status quo, because everybody hates the status quo. And if the status quo is maintained, they might limp him into November, which I think would be a much better option than doing a swap. Carolyn G, what's up, oh no, it's just sent in a nice sticker. Thank you, Carolyn, for supporting us. Cowboy Rob says, why is no one talking about the police shooting, flashbangs into the crowd, rubber bullets, causing people to go into the Capitol to seek shelter? Well, we've talked about that for sure. We've talked about the police shooting people in the face with rubber bullets, which is really what instigated a whole reaction. What's up, Bill Corbett, new member on the YouTubes. Great to have you, Bill. Thanks for joining us. Lost Cause says, 9 months, Rob. We've gone full term, baby. We got a new baby in the house. Welcome aboard, Lost Cause. Trump 2024, and welcome to our newest baby. Hey, Peng One, what's up? Gifted, 12 months as a memo. That's 1 year. Make America Great Again from Peng One. Confused Abyssinian Cat sent in a super sticker. Cats often get confused, but they usually figure it out. Michelle P says the Border Patrol just came out and said they never have and never will support Joe Biden. This one from Rudd says, what is a fentanyl machine? I don't know. You probably have to ask Hunter Biden about that, and he'll probably give you a full debrief. Well, here's what it has. And let's put the levers in it. Take the levers, and you put the drugs right here, and the drugs right over here. So it's probably something like that. So this one came out from Maris. Says Biden has no answer for making America great. No, because he just wrecks the country. That's what his prerogative is. What's up, Yoshi? Why didn't Trump capitalize on the addiction question? He's warmed up to people, and I think that would have been the game changer. I agree. I think Trump should talk about sobriety more. I think he should talk about that. And I wish he did, actually. I totally agree with that. Because it was inspirational in my journey. I remember when I was still drinking, I heard Trump never had alcohol. I heard, what? Like, I thought he was like a billionaire playboy, like, Playboy or what, Miss Universal. I'm like, what? Like, that dude doesn't party hard? No, he doesn't. And I went, wow, that's curious. And it got me to think about a life without alcohol. So I think Trump, and there were many other things, including the debilitation of alcoholism, but there were many other things that I think that's inspirational. I think people can hear that. It inspired me, so why wouldn't it inspire some others? What's up? This one from Ray Ray. Says, Rob, my husband and I really enjoy watching you and learning from you. That's amazing. Thank you, Ray Ray. And shout out to husband Ray. Thank you for your hard work and dedication to us all. Thank you. It means so much, and I really appreciate it because it's valuable to me. I really enjoy our time together. So I understand what you're saying. Thank you for saying it. This one from Just Rhonda says, can I just say how fabulous Rob and Stephen look sitting together in the same room chatting about the debate? Hello to Stephen from a fellow Utah. Yeah, it was awesome. It was a real kind of serendipitous thing. The whole thing was, honestly, it's like we have our Watcher meetup event on Saturday. We already booked this place at Trump Hotel for that. Then they scheduled the debate. Then Gardner's here. Robert Barnes lives here. It's like wild. What's up, Just Rhonda? Tasada Ka says, Viva and Barnes are talking about Joe not blinking, a sign he's drugged. Trump could have used Biden's taking drugs in the fentanyl question, LOL. Yeah, fentanyl. Like what you're taking right now? Or you're not on fentanyl, right? You're probably on that cocaine they found at the White House. Yeah. A boy misunderstood. 12 months as a membo. Says CNN's fact-checking website is disgustingly biased, from a boy misunderstood. All right, so should we open up these curtains, my friends? Because it's Vegas night lights. Let's see if we can get some good Vegas lights in the background. All right, got to get up for this one. All right, so you can't see them at all. You can't see the Vegas lights at all. Ugh! All right, so disregard that. All right, a little bit. All right, so that was kind of a bummer. All right, anyway, so we tried it. Didn't work. All right, Tasadaka, good to see you. We got a boy misunderstood. Says CNN's fact-checking website is disgustingly biased. Yes, we got that one. What's up? Arnold N. Says, talking about Steve. Hey, Steve is awesome, man. Thank you for Steve for being here. Thank you, Arnold, for the support on that. Tony Hey Munkets says, if they can't cheat this time and we maintain our 75 million votes, we got this with that. See you on Saturday, brother. Woo! We're going to see Tony Hay on Saturday. It's going to be awesome for our watcher meetup. Bookworm just became a new YouTube member. We got Felix says, bro, scoot back and put the mic between you two. I liked passing it back and forth. It was a good workout for my left shoulder. Here, what's up, Felix says, Mike Obama, and how does a man go through menopause? Mike Obama, how does a man go through menopause? I don't know. Bookworm, Rob, I think we need to spread Trump's policies better. He passed many good ones. This rebuttal, Biden's BS, we can find them on the White House archives. What's up, Bookworm? Thanks for being a member for 4 months. This one came in from Mexican Marauder. Says the Border Patrol just posted on X that they have never and never will endorse Trump. Oh, I saw the opposite. Oh, well, that's good. He said, let's go talk to Brandon. Somebody from Border Patrol did. It says correction. So, correction. The Border Patrol said that about Biden, not Trump. Okay, so correction is about Biden. Thanks for the correction, Mexican Marauder. This one from Yoshi says, Byron will secure the black vote and secure a solid partner that can relate to the common man. Burgum may be too out of touch. Burgum, yeah. I like Byron. The only thing I think about Byron and Elise Stefanik is that they're representatives. And politically, they just never get picked for those positions. They're a little too new. Michael S. says it won't be Byron Donalds because of his Florida residency. And I've heard that too. I've seen that come up. Mima, what's up? Says strangely, Locals is back online right after the debate. I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that. I don't know. Maybe they were repurposing the tubes over to the Rumble. Who knows what was going on? Spuds, Bidenflation prevents me from going to Vegas. We're going to miss you, Spuds. Prevents me from going to Vegas. We're going to miss you. Sorry you're not coming. We'll catch you next time, though. Hey, what's up, James N? James N. What a nice comment and a very nice donor. Thank you, James. Says, thanks for all you do as always. I really would like to know the real reason Democrats are going to such extreme lengths to prevent another Trump presidency. It's bigger than we realize. Yeah, it's a great question, James. And I ask myself that all the time. And it might just be about money. I mean, the president obviously controls a ton of power. And is it the wars? To me, it feels like it might be the wars. That they want this endless. It's the military-industrial complex that I think, who was that warned us about? Eisenhower, I think, warned us about that in the 50s, that there was a military-industrial complex that's going to want endless war all the time, and everybody gives them that. The only person that will not give them that is Trump. That's it. And they hate that, man. They absolutely hate that. And it might be more than that. It also might be just a control apparatus. I also think that there's probably big, kind of families in the world or big entities in the world, let's say institutions or like literal families. But there are power centers, and the power centers do not like new players entering the game. You do not get to enter the game. Okay, Obama got entered into the game, but he was brought in under the wing of, kind of the Soros crowd. He was just their heir apparent. If you're manufactured, you can be new and brought in. But if you're an outsider, you're not allowed in. You're just not. You got to go through the rules, just like you got to go through a hazing to join a fraternity. Trump didn't do that, right? Trump was on the outside from the very beginning, and they hated that. They absolutely hated it. So now he's breaking through. They don't want to give him access to the table because he could shatter the whole grift. I think he did that last time, which is why I agree. I mean, they've changed this whole country to stop this guy. They've shattered 234 years of historical precedent to stop Trump for a false business records case. Are you kidding me? What is that for? Well, it's because he's interrupting the grift. What's up, Rob? And thank you for the great comment. That was a great one, James. Thanks. Hey, Rob White says Trump sweep the floor with Biden. It was pretty solid. It was pretty solid. But my question is Joe Biden now done? I don't know. Here, what's up? Charles G, which I don't want him to be done. We said this many months ago. Like, we love Joe Biden here as the Democratic nominee. He's the best Democratic nominee that I can think of. He's got plenty of time left, multiple years. He's got a decade left. He's vibrant. Heck, you go out there and golf with Trump? Sure, probably. So we want him not going anywhere. And if he would have gotten obliterated tonight, he would be gone, right? There's still plenty of time to do that, I think. There's 5 months left. So the liberal media is saying Biden needs to be replaced. So they're saying that right now, huh? Wild. What's up? Rob White says, I think H.A. Goodman is right. They will replace Biden with Hillary. It will be 2016 all over again. Good job, Rob. Wish I could go to Vegas. Miss you too. We'll miss you, Rob. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, Hillary feels like she's warming up right now. She's stretching. Emil says, dude, that was so bad from Emil talking about Joe. Brandon Lesko says, feels like business as usual. Dems freaking out to try to get rid of him. Did Trump inflict the right amount of damage? Too much, and Joe is out. I agree, right? Too much damage, and he's got to go. Cowboy Rob says, I like how Trump tried to point to Jake Tapper and tell him, yeah, your taxes might go up too there, Jake, under Joe Biden. He doesn't care. The liberals love it. Like, they love to pay more taxes. They love to be governed. They love to be subjugated under their leaders and follow the rules. Hey, put your mask on. Fauci said so. You don't want to be anti-science. It's like, why are you such a rule follower, even if the rules are insane and idiotic and against your own livelihood and your own liberty? Like, well, they're rules. All right. What's up, Jonathan? Hey, what's up, Jonathan Gray? My friends, Jonathan Gray is in that room right over there. He's got an amazing YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked it out, you should. And if Jonathan wants to pop over here and say something, he's more than welcome to do that because we love Jonathan. But he's got a great YouTube channel and he's making content about a bunch of different stuff. I'd encourage you to check it out. It's a really good one. I'm subscribed to it, Jonathan Gray. So go check it out and just find it on YouTube. It's a lot of it's about, he's an excellent at branding. He's really good at branding. And we might work together at some point. But he's doing some content on some spirituality and like open-mindedness and getting connected to yourself in many ways. So great content. He did his first live stream the other day and it was amazing. So go check his channel out, Jonathan Gray, doing good work. Everybody should be on YouTube, okay? Everybody. What's up? The Outlaw Feminist. My favorite Newsy YouTube guy. Oh, you're so sweet. Newsy, that's about right. Yeah, I think newsy is probably fair adjective. Thanks for that, the Outlaw Feminist. Good to see you. Sounds like a fun one. Hey, what's up? Acid Burns, new YouTube membo. Great to have you. Emil is in the house. Says, what's up, smart peeps? That's true. We have the smartest chat in the whole world. What's up? Tyler says, Jigam, I hope you clip the Hunter impression. Oh, the Hunter impression with the fentanyl machine. Kelly R says, Rob, Trump not talking about addiction. It's hard for people who haven't experienced it to get the significance of solutions, which is to have empathy. Yeah, addiction, I think, is I think it's a critical issue in our country. And people think about addiction and they think, drugs or alcohol, like you have to be like Hunter. I don't think that's true at all. I think people are addicted to food. People are addicted to porn. People are addicted to a bunch of other things, right? Gambling's big now. You have all of these kind of softer drugs that are very commoditized. People, I think, are getting addicted to other things. It's all over the place. And the social media, the internet, right? So it's an important issue. And I think if we help people solve that, the whole country will be better. Lift up the bottom of everybody. It's great. Cowboy Rob says, Rob, you should do a show where you just go through everything Trump did in his 4 years of the presidency. It should be a long show. It'd be like 4 years, probably, to get through it all. What's up? Yoshi says, where do you see the country in 6 months? Love your coverage of cases. Makes me want to test for the bar. I look up to you, brother. Yoshi, that is such an awesome compliment, man. It makes me like emotional. So thanks for saying that. First of all, it's a great journey. The bar is a great journey. We need more amazing people in the legal profession. So if you're feeling a calling towards that, we'd love to have you, man. We need more good people in our space on our side. So we'd love to have you. But country in 6 months, I think Trump wins. And I think the status quo thinking is that there'll be riots if Trump wins. You know, the country will be splitting apart at the seams. I don't think so. I think that when Trump wins, people will have a little bit of a sense of relief. They'll say, okay, we know that guy. We're going to go back to some good economic times, and the country will feel like it's in a lot more competent position. You're going to have the same stuff. You're going to have the same attacks. They're going to probably try to indict him again. I mean, things could get very bad. For example, if he pardons himself, they might, depends what happens with the House of Representatives too. But if Trump can keep the House, then he can avoid impeachment. But if the House flips to the Democrats, he might be a lame duck presidency from the very beginning, in other words. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Republicans will increase their hold in the House. And I think Trump will do some good stuff. I think hopefully he gets rid of basically all of his cases. I think he should pardon himself, pardon the J6ers and all that stuff. I don't know that he will, but I'd like to see that. I think more likely than not, Trump comes in. He keeps a lot of stuff steady, right? No sudden movements to try to build in some unity back into the country. And we start to see a massive reversal of the policies, honestly. Border, I think, could be solved basically overnight. Many of these catastrophic things that we're watching happening, I think, could all be solved with the stroke of a pen. Joe Biden is incompetent, and it's also by design. But things could be looking much better. And I've also made the point that I don't think Trump is going to save America. He's one man with 4 years. We got a lot of work to do here. We've got a whole broken culture to fix. We have a whole new sense of, conservatism or civic liberty. Like, what does that even mean anymore? We got to build all of that up. It's going to take generations, baby. That's why we need you, Yoshi, to come into the game if you're feeling it, right? If you're feeling it. That's like law school because you're bored or because you don't know what else to do, not a good solution. I saw a lot of people do that. But if it's in your heart, it's a powerful tool. It's a big challenge, and big challenges are what life is about. It makes us who we are. So great to see you, Yoshi. Thanks for that. This one came in from Jason. I see the next one. Jason says, great show, great atmosphere for the debate. Thank you. Thank you for that, for saying that, Jason. Yeah, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We're in Trump Hotel. You should see this scene. It's all over the place. So we're having fun, and we're really glad that we got to have Stephen Gardner and some of the others join in. Hey, Douche Elias, what's up, Douche Elias? Says that train wreck was worse than East Palestine. Oh my gosh, from Douche Elias. Hey, Mark Elias talking about. Spuds, actually Hillary's waistband has been the one that's been stretching. Spuds is here. Gifted 5 membos. What's up, Spuds? Thanks for bringing in a bunch of new membos. And Milo Phone Bill says, Rob, you could use the wireless microphones. I actually have them right here. I actually have some wireless microphones right here. These are the, yeah, I have them. But it just wouldn't have worked all that well. Milo Phone Bill sent that one in over on Locals. Hey, this one came in from Spuds. What's up, Spuds? Emil is here, brought in a bunch of new membos. Let's see who some of these people are. We've got Emil gifted Poppet, Thomas, Cheryl, Mick C, and Demon J, all in the house. And then Acid Burn in the house, also gifted 1 membo. Welcome aboard to Sherry P. Just amazing. Okay, so those were some of the tremendous comments that have come in. We also had some awesome Locals comments. And I see Jigum's over there. So the Locals comments, I do believe that I can share. And so let's see what we have in the house. So I can share this screen to say hello to our Locals friends. And let me stop sharing this and then represent this. I'm getting the hang of this. We're getting the show on the road situation figured out. All right, so here we are. We've got some comments. Former LEO says, will Bash disclose the information that her ex-husband, an ex-CIA husband, used to stage the J6 riot? So remember, Former's talking about, what was his name? Jeremy Bash, who I think is like 2 times the second ex-husband from Dana Bash, who signed the letter, the 51 letter. What's up? This old guy says, Biden came off to me as an old angry codger who has trouble remembering whether it was $1 billion or $1 million he spent on ice cream last year. Yeah, that's true. He did do that. He confused that a couple times. Yeah, and Retread says, and he tweaked his earpiece. He did touch something in his ear. Remember when he did that? Milo Phone Bill says, Rob, the next time you have guests in your studio, use the Rode Wireless Go mic instead of having to move your new studio mic. I know. Had I known that we were going to be doing that, I would have had a better setup for sure. And I was trying to jimmy it together, but we were just wasting time, and it wasn't working. Jay Dizzle, what's up? Open the curtains, Rob. I tried. It just turns into a big reflection. Jigam said, oh, Jigam, you're so nice. No better place. I'd rather be watching the debate here with Rob and all the Watching the Watchers peeps. Nice to have Stephen Gardner. What a treat. I know. It was such a great treat. Yeah, such a great treat. Chubby says, Gavin and Jigam, thank you for the very nice dono. My gosh, my friends, you know who Jigam is? She's our meme smith extraordinaire. Great to see you, Jigam. Chubby says, Gavin Newsom is in Georgia right now under the guise of giving his take on the results of the debate. My theory is they have him there as a replacement if needed, depending on Biden's performance. So like after the commercial break, Gavin Newsom's up on the podium. We come back from commercial and Jake Tapper's like, "What's great to see you here, Mr. Governor." Like, what? What happened here? Where's Joe? Zone Girl. Trump said he would solve some problems before he took office. Can that get him in trouble? Well, I mean, during the presidential transition, it did get him in trouble last time. They said he was trying to, I think, collude with the Ukrainians or something. Yeah, really fun. What's up? Rocky Water in the house has got to roll. Great stuff as always, Rob. Thanks, Rocky. Looking forward to shaking your hand, brother. You're coming to Vegas, Rocky. Oh, man, we're going to see you in like 2 days, man. Tomorrow's Friday, and then it's Saturday. Pretty sure. Truth says, thanks for your work tonight. I've missed you guys. Just busy getting it done. Got to get it done. Difficult to watch Biden. CNN is kind of freaking out. Biden did not show the strength he needed. Yeah, I always like the reaction and the spin. I haven't seen any of it. Says, look at this graph. More court cases coming. Oh. Breaking. Trump's chances of winning the election are skyrocketing as a result of the debate. Look what happened on Predicted. Oh, that's just great. All right, let's see if we have election betting odds. Electionbettingodds.com. Let's go check this one out. Hang on. No, don't type that in your browser because I'm not sure what that is. Election. Let's see if I can find this one. Yeah, here it is. Election betting odds. Okay, you can type that one into your browser. Oh my gosh. Look. Oh, that's brutal. Look, down 13 points on the night. Down 13 points on the night. Wow. Trump is at 60%. He dropped 13 points. Gavin Newsom went up 6.5 points. He went from 3 to 9 in one night. Oh, that's just great. All right, so let's see what Predicted is doing on this one. So Predicted is right here. Let's see what the markets show us. All markets for president. Look, just brutal. All right, Joe went down here. He's at 45. Trump's up. So there it is. Just outstanding. All right. So thanks for that one from our friend Milo Phone Bill. Yeah, maybe they'll indict him again. Ryan PD says, guarantee they are 25th Amendmenting Joe right now, which is why Kamala has not come out like she was supposed to. Yikes. This is a video of Joe getting off the stage with Jill's help. This one came in from Sergey. And here, yeah, this looks like it was right after the debate. Here is the scene. So it looks like Jill's helping Joe off. Is this? Oh my gosh. Somebody's recording that? That was on TV. Wow. All right. Yeah, not looking good. What's up, Sergey? Thank you for sending that one in. And Sweet, what's up, Sweet? Says, hey, bring out Miss Alexis. Okay, we're here for the love story. Oh, that's so sweet. We'll see if she wants to pop in. She's welcome to. What's up, Sir GP? We got a little bit of Miss Alexis yesterday on a Membos Only stream, who's also beautiful and in that room over there. What's up, Sir GP? This is a video of Joe getting off the stage. We got that one. Hey, baby. Are you watching? Yeah. You want to come say hello? What'd you think? Any commentary, or just want to say hi?
I took notes.
Okay.
So that I could have a commentary, but that doesn't have to be public.
Okay. Well, we're here with 9,000 people on.
But really, I got the invite to come say hello.
Okay.
And that's why I came.
Okay.
Everyone else left.
Well, everybody, this is Miss Alexis, and she's amazing. We're here in Vegas together. We've been dating for almost a year, and it's been great. We're having a lot of fun. So she was awesome. She's here helping. We went to an event today. We learned a ton of stuff at Speakeasy, and you're working on some stuff. What do you want to share?
Yeah. What are we working on?
What are you working on?
I am working on. This is great. Okay, give me a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're landing here. Really, I kind of also came in to say that we're gonna eat dinner after this.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
But yes, what I'm working on, and it's nice to meet you guys. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Is helping brain injury survivors, so adult professionals that have sustained a brain injury, basically reconstruct their life so that it can still be meaningful after their incident. So that's the project that I'm working on.
Yep, and it's amazing, and you're doing amazing work, and helping people. You just were helping somebody. I don't think we want to say her name, but was in an accident, had a really difficult time getting everything back on track, learning how to live with some new debilitating conditions, and she's doing great. Did some coaching and doing awesome.
Yeah.
So it's been very good, and we're having a lot of fun, and we're going to dinner.
We're gonna go to dinner.
What's the dinner plan?
We're gonna go down to the lobby Trump Hotel dinner or restaurant, and a couple of our friends that were in the watch party in the other room are still here, and so they are waiting to get to have dinner with you as well.
Okay, cool. So we're going to wrap it up. We'll take just a couple other comments, and then we'll wrap it up, and then I'll be right down there. Thank you for saying hi.
You're welcome.
All right, you did great. Bye. All right, so my friends, that is the great and beautiful Alexis. Very glad that we got to meet her today as well. She's in there having a bunch of fun with the rest of the crew, so obviously we're going to get up and go have some dinner here in a few minutes, but we'll wrap it up. We'll say our hellos, our goodbyes, and want to thank everybody for joining us. So let me wrap this up. We got a couple of other amazing comments that we'll get to, and then we'll call it a night, my friends. So this came in from former, let's see what else we got. Hey, they're sweet. Bring out Miss Alexis. That was her. We got Miss Alexis in the house, and she's awesome. So we love Miss Alexis. Sergi P says that's a video. Let's see what else. We had some other comments in here. We had Sadie. Sadie says, posted this for us. Hillary will need the fire alarm. And so WikiLeaks was posting some other documents as well. We've got this one from Jesser Bob. Says, can't wait for this historic debate. President Trump is a master debater. Says, Londo says, more likely to be a lot of stuff hitting the fan. And Mima's commenting over there. What's up, Mima? We'll be here. Can't wait. We got Ethan says, this page shows the Monte Carlo simulation for the electoral result. The results are based on methodology, calculating the leader in each state, several other factors. The simulation is usually run daily. The data below are the results for 5,000 election simulations. In other words, how many times did each candidate win the election in each simulation? Therefore, 100% would indicate each candidate won 5,000 out of 5,000 times. See the map at the bottom of the page. Sounds interesting. Sounds complicated. Not real sure what we're to conclude of that other than Trump needs to win. What's up? Sadie says it has arrived. Oh, yes. So we're going to have a nice little delivery courtesy of Sadie. And I know that the Rubo's salt is also on the way. RuboSaltShop.com. They sent in some nice salt for all of our members who are going to be joining us, all of our friends who are joining us on Saturday. The Veil says, and so there was another debate happening at the same time as this so-called national debate that CNN has so graciously decided they own. Here is a candidate who is banned from CNN debate having his own debate, wondering if it can be streamed as well somehow. That is from RFK Jr., yeah. And Rebecca Cleveland says, I got thrown out of the stream right as it was time to start. I know. All right, so good stuff, stream stuff. We got Sweet, good to see you, Sweet. We'll do one final refresh, my friends, and then we'll leave it there because we're going to go get some food. We're going to go get some dinner. And, yeah, it's great. Hey, Sweet says she's lovely. Here's for the engagement ring fun, so get on it. Oh, love it. So Sweet says, here, just get that's a contribution to the engagement ring. Thank you for that. She's pretty great. I agree. Maybe we'll start adding that one to it. Hey, Milo says, I sure love the short circuit moments from Joe. Short circuit moments. Yeah, his facial spasms. Wow, Alexis is smart and beautiful. Yeah, she's got free time. We'd love to hang out with her tomorrow, says Words. Have her own live stream on your channel. Have her own live stream on the channel. And look at this photo of Joe. Oh, doesn't look so good. All right, a few more YouTube donos came in from Donut Mind Me. So thank you for flagging those for us, Donut. And this one came in from Emil. Says, can you use this for her work? Can you use this for her work? Well, yeah, I mean, if you have any brain injury stuff that you need some coaching on, of course, reach out to us. Yeah, reach out to us. So if you need, she helps people with that. So you've been in an accident or you've been in something traumatic or something, she can help. Yeah, that's what she does. What's up? Acid Burn in the house says gifted 5 membos. Thank you, Acid Burn, and gifted another membo. We got some great new membos coming in. Thank you, Emil, for being so helpful and supportive. But okay, so my friends, let us wrap it up there. It's been a beautiful debate. I think it hit exactly the marks that we needed it to hit. Joe Biden did about what Joe Biden did, and that was the status quo. And if the status quo continues, Joe Biden is clearly going to lose. Donald Trump will be our next president, unless they make any sudden moves and had to make any last-minute adjustments. But time will tell. We're very grateful that we got to spend this time here together. I know there's many other places that you could be streaming this, and so we love our time together. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for all the amazing comments, the tremendous support, all the donos. All of this wouldn't be possible without you, your work, your support, your donos, your help, everything. So it's just great. Had a great time with you. We're going to have a great time here in Vegas, and we'll see you, those of you who are joining us, for the Watcher Lodge meetup in Vegas. That's happening on Saturday, and so it's going to be fun. So, all right, let's leave it there, my friends. It's been a beautiful and absolutely amazing day, and so I want to wish you the best night you've ever had, at least since last night. When you lay your head down to rest tonight, you're going to fall asleep so quickly, and the dreams in your head are going to be bouncing around, so colorful, so vivid, and you're going to wake up with every single problem that you've ever had solved, because your subconscious is doing the work while you're sleeping. And you're going to feel refreshed and ready to go. And we'll see what is happening tomorrow. SCOTUS will be out with some new drops. There may be some big drops tomorrow. We might have presidential immunity or the Fisher case. And so we're going to keep our eyes peeled for what is coming out of the courts. My friends, as always, thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. Thanks for inviting people you know or love to come check it out. And thank you for being here when we go through this craziness in America. Couldn't ask for a more blessed opportunity to be sharing this experience with you. So we'll leave it there. Make it a great night. It's a beautiful Thursday. I hope you sleep very well. You get the best rest you could ever have. We'll come back here tomorrow to get into it again. And in order to do that, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.